Hey there, and welcome back to Temporary Locals.
I'm Jared.
And I'm Megan. And this week we are taking you to Colorado and Utah. We're going to talk about our most recent trip out there, out west, if you dare. But before we get into that, if you are new here, welcome. Jared and I are an adventure loving couple. We share our real stories and experiences from places that we've actually been, and sometimes we'll have guests on to talk about places that we haven't gotten to see yet. So whether you're planning your next adventure or you're just kind of here for the storytelling, you're in the right place. We'd love it if you would subscribe and join us. We put out new episodes mostly every week. We didn't last week, which leads me into our kind of current event section. Typically our episode structure is we start out with some sort of current travel related event, not always, and then we kind of move into the main content of our episode. But we were going to put out a lost episode, is what we're calling it, the passports and pandemics, because I was briefly very obsessed with the hantavirus updates as they were coming out. It seems to have kind of, gone off the news cycle for the most part. But we were going to put that one out last week and just kind of decided, you know what, we're going to wait. And then we went on our trip to Moab, so... and the second thing we wanted to talk about was the most recent sonic boom in Colombia. You actually felt it.
Mm-hmm. Yeah.
I was in Charlotte at the time, and I got a text message from you, and you were like, "Did you hear about the meteor?"
Well, people in Charlotte apparently also felt it. People heard it all over the state. We put there was a sonic boom in Columbia. I think that's where it originated, but it was felt all throughout the state and even up into Charlotte. And I didn't know what it was. So let me paint a picture for you. So there I was. I was on I-20. No, I was on 26, and I was in my truck, and I heard like a boom. It wasn't like super loud or anything, but it was like a boom, and I felt it. And my first instinct was I thought somebody may have like rear-ended me or something. It didn't like jolt me forward or anything, but I just felt like a loud boom. And so I looked in my rear view and realized that nobody had hit me or anything. Um so then I just assumed that something like in the truck of my the bed of my truck had just fallen over and like made a boom sound. And so I kinda just, like, didn't think anything of it, but when I got home later and I was kinda scrolling and stuff, I saw a bunch of people saying that at that time, which was this was around 5:30 PM, there was a loud sonic boom that a bunch of people had heard, and I realized in that moment that, like, "Oh, that must have been what I felt and what I heard." Uh, they still don't know what it's from. I think it was from a meteor. I saw a Ring camera footage from somebody's front porch that shows a streak in the sky right
Mm,
before the loud boom and the, like, ripple effect. They but that hasn't been confirmed yet. There is military bases nearby, but they came out and said that it wasn't from anything they were doing.
yeah.
And I heard people say that it could have been from a plane, like a certain kind of plane hitting, breaking the sound barrier or something, but they said that you wouldn't hear that throughout that wide of an area. You wouldn't hear it throughout the entire state. Um, so no one really knows there's no confirmed like source from what this was,
Yeah.
but I think the most likely possibility is from a meteor or something hitting.
Yeah, that's interesting. So I was like, I was very curious. I was looking it up. It's interesting that you said that you saw Ring camera footage because I hadn't seen that or heard that. So I'd like to see that too, because one of the things was like that's the most likely is that it's not that a meteor like came and made contact, it's that a meteor came and exploded in the atmosphere.
Mhm.
One or the other, I guess. Um,
Yeah, because that recently just happened in I believe it was Cleveland, Ohio, a meteor hit,
mm,
and so, again, I think I was kinda talking to you about this, but, we think of these kinda things as, like, fantasy or, like, that's the movies, like Armageddon, "Oh, that could never happen," but, these things are real, and it is, our if you look at our planet, it's been hit by meteors over and over and over again throughout its history, and so it's just something that, like, we don't really think about, but we're floating in a shooting gallery, you know?
yeah. And I mean, there's a lot of like meteor activity right now
Yeah.
too. So,
Yeah, we actually fly through what's called the Torrid Meteor Stream twice a year, and a lot of people don't realize this, but twice a year we are going through a meteor storm, and that's called the Torrid Meteor Stream, and we go through it once in May, and then at the end of the year, around October, we go through it twice. And so that's a time when like you can see them in the night when we're going through that meteor. You see meteor showers and stuff, and like they come really close to us.
yeah, okay. Well, and it's interesting too because it was 2 nights before that widespread boom. I was up really late in the night and you were sleeping and I had just come to bed. And I this is what I thought you were talking about when you said the meteor, and I was like, "Oh," because I was laying in bed and yes, it was thundering outside, but I heard a loud boom, and to me, my first thought was like, that sounded like a bomb, and, it
Woke Chewy up,
yeah, it didn't wake you up, it woke Chewy up, and you woke up to Chewy barking at the sound,
right?
and, yeah, so, I mean, I was trying to look it up and, like, there was no other, like, reports from the one that I heard too in the middle of the night, so but that could be, like a transformer
Hmm.
exploding. Remember we were at the pool? We were just talking about the storm that we had
Yeah,
here that was, like, blowing our metal table well, not ours, but the apartment complex, the metal table and chairs into the pool, like, it just came out of nowhere, and there was something that we heard boom, and we saw lights in the sky that was probably a transformer
yeah. We saw
exploding.
like purple flashes in the sky. We were sitting down to like eat. It was bright and sunny and nice, and then all of a sudden, just like boom, a storm rolled in, and it was just like hurricane force winds. And the night sky was there was lightning, but then we saw like purple flashes, and we thought maybe a transformer had blown. And tables and chairs and umbrellas were just flying all over the place, and we were like running for cover. And I remember us being kind of concerned about running through the trees because we thought a
If
tree could come down.
yeah.
And we were just talking about that because a woman just this is another current event I guess we could talk about that's like more local to us, but a woman in South Carolina down in the Charleston area was at a outdoor seating restaurant and was actually killed by a umbrella.
Yeah.
An
Wow.
umbrella, they had a strong gust of wind and an umbrella like hit her. I don't know. I haven't heard like confirmation of whether the umbrella like impaled her or if it just hit her and killed her, but you know, what a crazy way to die. Like, what are the chances of that, you know?
Yeah.
Obviously not 0.
Yeah. Not 0.
It's a sad story, but it's also very interesting in a weird way because it's like, what a random thing to happen. It's like
Yeah.
real, Final Destination type stuff, you know?
Yeah.
So, just goes to show you the weather's unpredictable, especially down here, and you never know, you know?
Yeah. Yeah, it's just wild too, and I there was a lot of conspiracy theories coming out about the sonic boom too.
Of
Did you see
course.
any of those?
Of course. I love them. Yeah.
Yeah.
I'm here for them.
People are like,
Aliens.
"Oh, the military's testing something," and they're like, "Well, but the military came out and said it wasn't them," and it's like they're like, "Yeah, but if it was something secret, would they really tell us?"
Yeah,
Which,
because
I
the
mean,
government never lies, right?
yeah.
Yeah. It could be,
But,
you know?
yeah.
Yeah.
Alright, let's get into the episode. Um,
So, I just wanna preface this episode with saying we really like Utah. We've done a Moab episode before from your travels to Moab.
yep,
We did a Salt Lake City episode
yeah,
from
from
your skiing trip to Salt Lake City. And now we're doing another episode, which also will include Colorado because we did spend a good amount of time in Colorado as well. But this is technically like the third episode we have on Utah.
well, and we have one on Arizona in the desert. We just like the desert.
Yeah, we just got back from out west. And before that, like what, a month before that, we were out in Arizona. So we've been spending a lot of time out west lately. And I love the Southwest of the United States. There's so much history there. I mean, when you talk about history, it's like people, when they came to the Americas and when they came to the United States, they came to the East Coast and they slowly moved like settlements and stuff west. You know, there was the gold rush, and so there's a lot of history on the East Coast as far as like um, you know,
Like
west
settlement towns and stuff.
settlements and like colonization and like, human like more modern human history kind of starts on the East Coast. But when you get out west and you see some of the things that we saw, um, human history goes back super far out there. And so, which some of the stuff we'll get into, but yeah,
Yeah. Yeah, I love it out there. I mean, just the difference in the, climate and the different plants and animals that you'll see out there is just I don't know. It's awesome. I love it out there.
yeah,
Um but this trip, yeah, like you said, we did another episode on Moab. This trip is one that we take every other year, and we started kind of going. This is from my dad's college. I talked about this before on the previous Moab episode, so I won't spend too much time on it. But my dad's friend from college, their family's been going out there for over 25 years. I think this was like their 25th year or something like that. Um, and so we kind of started tagging along with them in 2013. So this was my seventh time there. We calculated while we were there, and got to bring Jared along too. So we flew into Denver, which is typically what we'll do. Over the years, we've done many things. We've driven all the way out there. We've flown to Grand Junction, Colorado, and then driven to Moab. But my go-to is flying to Denver, renting a car, driving the 6 hours to Moab. Um, it's cheaper typically to fly in to Denver than it is to fly into Grand Junction or even Moab. It's more expensive. The airport's smaller. Um, so yeah, we flew into Denver. We did get to see Lucifer again.
yeah. Because again, on our just a couple episodes ago, we did an episode on Arizona because we were just out before in Arizona, and we had also flown into Denver. So we flew into the Denver airport twice in the past like month, and
Yeah. We just had a layover in Denver last time though, so
yeah, and but we talked about Lucifer and we talked about the Denver airport and all the kind of mysteries and conspiracies surrounding it. So we mentioned Lucifer, but we didn't actually get to see the statue.
mhm.
And this time we did.
Yeah. Yeah, we talked about that in our Arizona episode a little bit more. It's if you're not familiar, it's like gigantic. It's a super heavy statue and it's just a blue stallion with red eyes. It has some lore behind it because it actually fell on the creator, the artist, while they were building it and killed him. Um, so yeah, and there's a lot of lore about the Denver airport, but we talked about that again in our Arizona episode if you want to check that out. Um, so we actually flew into Denver not having planned. Was Saturday. So we didn't have accommodation Saturday night because our condo in Moab was rented Sunday to Sunday. But we knew we were going out there a day early and we figured we'd just try to do something in the area. And then time got away from us and we didn't actually spend much time planning, which was okay. It didn't feel stressful or anything while we were there. We knew that we wanted to head to Rocky Mountain National Park, which I had never been. Um, had you been?
Mm-mm.
No. Okay, yeah, so we had never been. Um, and looking it up just now before this episode, we realized that we just missed the window where they start to make you reserve timed entry passes. So between May 22nd and mid October, you have to reserve a time that you're going to enter the park because it's, kind of busy season. So didn't realize that, but that's kind of cool. We were there on May 16th. So just before they started doing that. And yeah, we went to Rocky Mountain National Park, kind of explored a little bit driving in, and we got to see some elk kind of here and there while we were driving in. And then we came up to the Big Thompson River and got to see kind of more out there and one actually kind of cross in front of us. So we got out and had our cameras and setups and stuff, and we're taking some pictures. There were people fishing out there too. It was just gorgeous with the um springtime flowers and the view of the mountain and the water and the snow caps on the mountains. I got a really pretty picture of that. Um, so it was just really awesome. So we headed to the Stanley Hotel, which was I don't know if it was your suggestion. I didn't even know it was in the area.
I don't think I did either. I know it was near Rocky Mountain National Park. I wasn't aware that it was, like, right next to Rocky Mountain National
Yeah, it's like
Park.
5 miles from it, from the
Yeah,
entrance.
in, Estes Park, and I've always wanted to visit the Stanley Hotel. Um, anybody that knows anything about it knows that it was the inspiration for the movie The Shining. Stephen King went there in the '70s with his wife, stayed there. It's haunted. It has all kinds of ghost stories behind it and lore behind it. There's also a band I used to really like and listen to a lot, and they play, or at least they used to play, New Year's Eve show there every year. And like
That's cool.
everybody kind of goes and stays in the hotel and they play live. Everybody wears like tuxes and stuff. So I've always been really fascinated with the Stanley Hotel and the stories behind it. And I've always said like when I'm in Colorado, I want to go see it. So it just really kind of worked out that way that it happened to be like right next to where we were in Rocky Mountain National Park.
Yeah.
So it was a cool experience. It was one of my favorite things we did, and we did a lot of really cool stuff on this trip. But going to the Stanley Hotel and being able to explore it and walk around was really awesome.
Yeah, that was cool. And it's interesting because it is a hotel, but it's also like a tourist destination too. So you can go there even if you're
Yeah.
not staying. And you just pay, it was like $10 for parking or something like that. And then they give you this coin that's worth $5, and you can either keep the coin or you can spend it in the shop there for a $5 value.
Hmm.
Um, but there's so many different buildings.
Yeah,
Um,
it's like a whole campus.
yeah,
Yeah, they have different places you can stay. I assume because the Stanley Hotel itself is probably hard to get a room at, and it's probably also very expensive. So they have other like smaller places you could stay on the same campus. But the actual Stanley Hotel itself, it is like a tourist thing, and they do like ghost tours there and stuff. I got the feeling that you're not actually supposed to like go in and just walk around unless you're staying there.
yeah, you're not. I mean, there's signs that say like, hotel guests only beyond this point in the staircase in the lobby. I don't know if there was anything in the elevator, but we did. We explored.
Yeah, because there's a whole outdoor grounds area with like statues, and there's a nice kind of like botanical garden type area.
There's like a labyrinth too.
Yeah,
Is that the right word? It's like a
kind of.
maze.
Yeah, it's like a maze of brush with bushes and hedges and stuff.
Yeah.
But we were like taking photos outside of the building and kind of exploring the outside grounds. And your mom and dad went inside and went like got on the elevator and actually went up and to like the fourth floor and then came down and everything and checked out like the inside of the hotel, which again I don't think you're really supposed to do. And so
And that elevator is tiny. It's like
yeah,
all gold inside, and you could fit like 4 people in it.
yeah. Well, and that's the other thing that we'll kind of mention. We have pictures of this that we'll post, but the inside of the Stanley Hotel looks just like it did in the early 1900s. I mean, it's still very historic in that way. It's very like Victorian.
Yeah.
The pictures on the walls, like everything, they really keep that aesthetic, I think, because people when they go there, they want that. They want to feel like they're really stepping back into time. And the elevator's the same way. It's one of those old school elevators. It's like gold.
Yep.
It's really cool. And but your mom and dad came out and they said to us like, "Hey, you should go in and check it out." I didn't necessarily think that you'd even be able to do that, so it was kind of cool that I figured we'd go and like take photos of the outside, maybe go into the lobby,
Yeah.
but we wanted to go see the actual room that Stephen King stayed in
Yeah.
when he stayed there and he got the inspiration to write The Shining.
Mhm.
So that's room 217. And so you and I kind of snuck in and infiltrated the building.
Yep.
And we got into the elevator and we went all the way up to the 4th floor,
Yep.
walked around. They
And
have
then we
all
took the
these
stairs down.
yeah, they have these giant mirrors that are like the size of this wall,
Yeah.
and yeah, they're just like beautiful mirrors and
You know that foyer that we kind of walked down, and it had like all the pictures and
mhm.
stuff and mirrors? People say that one of the reasons why like spirits stay there or whatever is because the mirrors like face each other and create like a portal.
Oh, cool.
Isn't that interesting?
It is
I
interesting.
remember feeling kind of like not bad. I don't know if eerie is the right word when
Mhm.
we were standing there, because it's
Yeah,
not only just mirrors, but it's like they have these frames that are just like thick and wooden and carved in these intricate patterns.
yeah.
And it's just so pretty and old.
It's the kinda shit you'd see on the Antiques Roadshow, which we also watched a lot on this trip for
We did.
because it was just the only thing on TV, but it's like going into places like that and there's a lot of really, like, old school historic places down here that we go to, and I just think they don't make stuff like that anymore, and it's kind of a shame because now everything's so, like, clean and, like, mundane and all kinda looks the
Simple.
same and simple, but you see the artwork and stuff and the effort that was put into these things. It's also because everything now is so, like, mass produced.
Yeah.
It's just everything's made in a factory, everything's on an assembly line, but back in the day, it's like everything was handmade. And you go into places like the Stanley Hotel or any, like, old historic building like that, and you see, like, the artwork that and just the effort that was put into creating these things, whether it's a mirror or a desk or a piece of furniture or whatever, a door, like, everything just looks so awesome, and it just kinda makes you sad to live in the modern world because like, stuff doesn't look like that anymore.
I know. Even we were looking at there's pictures online on the Stanley Hotel website of the inside of room 217, and it's like just the furniture in there. It's just the thick, heavy duty wood, like it's quality. Even there's like a ottoman at the end of the bed that's just got these like thick legs on it, and it's like,
Yeah.
yeah. Now I got this like Walmart bed. Our nightstands are like
Yeah,
plastic tables.
you don't get the kinda that kinda stuff in a Holiday Inn nowadays, you know what I mean? It's
Yeah.
just but also, and I know you listen to the episode. There's an episode on the Stanley Hotel if you're interested, from our buddies over at Cracking Cans Cast.
Yep.
So, they have a podcast and they talk about all things
Cryptids and
cryptid and
things like that.
haunted, and
Yeah.
they have a whole episode on the Stanley Hotel and,
Yeah, they did it last year for Halloween.
yeah.
Um, yeah, I just listened to it kind of after we'd already kinda done our research and put our thoughts together for this episode, and so I just wanted to see kinda what they had to say about it, because when I tried to look up, like, hauntings, because 'cause I've heard you said it, I've, heard online, the Stanley Hotel is really haunted, it's, like, famously known for being haunted, but I'm like, "Why?" And I wanted to understand the stories, so I found a little bit online. Like the first thing that comes up is the gas explosion in room 217, which is the same room that Stephen King stayed in. And but nobody died. It didn't kill anyone. It did a lot of damage to the hotel. You could hear it for miles. And some of this information I'm remembering from the Kraken Scans podcast. And they cited like a Ghost Adventures article.
Mhm.
But
Yeah, Ghost Adventures did also go there.
yeah, but there's a housekeeper, Elizabeth Wilson, who was there in the room. She actually walked into the room with a candle, and um the hotel had electricity, and for some reason they had also built like a backup like line, but they had never used it, and that day they just turned it on, and so there was gas. They never tested it or anything, so there was like gas building up in the walls, and when she walked in with the candle, it ignited and exploded. um and she was hurt, but she didn't pass from it, and she actually continued to work there until she died. She worked there for like 40 years.
Mhm.
And that's one of the spirits that people think are there, is because if you stay in room 217, um, people report like the your bags being unpacked for you, or like your shoes being stacked nicely like at the end of the bed. Um, which is kind of like a nice ghost.
Yeah, not all ghosts are mean.
Yeah, but there is one thing that's funny is a lot of, unmarried couples will report, like, feeling like there's a unseen force, like, pushing them apart, because apparently she was not a fan of, uh
Fornication out of wedlock?
yeah,
Yeah. Well, old school, you know?
yeah, and sometimes, single men staying in that room will find their bags, like, packed up and sitting outside the door.
Yeah,
Isn't that crazy?
yeah.
I don't know. So and Jim Carrey stayed there while they were filming the, Dumb and Dumber movie,
Mhm.
and he will not talk about his experience there, but he left in the middle of the night. He was only there for, like, a few hours in room 217,
Wow.
and
I wonder if he purposely requested that room or
yeah,
if he
I
just
I
happened to
think
also be in
so.
that room.
No, I think he did, because that would be a huge coincidence.
Right.
But yeah, he won't speak about it. So it's like, will he not speak about it because he's like, it creates more curiosity about it, or
Right.
like, did something seriously happen? But um, learning more about Stephen King's inspiration for it, he had a nightmare, and his
Mhm.
nightmare was something along the lines of a fire hose, like, chasing his son throughout the hotel, and he kinda woke up in a sweat and whatnot, but that's an interesting dream considering that's the room where that gas explosion was.
Right.
So,
Yeah. I don't even know if you can you actually stay in room 217
yeah,
still, or is
yes,
it
you
just
can.
a Stephen King tourist thing?
It's called the Stephen King Suite, but yeah, you can rent it, you can stay there.
Wow. Hmm. Yeah, going back to kinda like we're kinda wondering, like, why is it haunted? I think we have this idea because of so many of these ghost stories and haunted hotels and buildings and homes. It's like we think that something big had to have happened or something hugely tragic or something for a place to be haunted, but, like, I say this all the time about any old building, like, whether it's an old home or a hotel. If you have any place that's from the 1800s, early 1900s, even 1950, whatever, if you're in a place that's old, like, at some point, somebody has died in that place.
Yeah,
Every place, you know? If you have a hotel that's from the early 1900s, people have died there 100%. And so nothing, like, huge or awful has to happen, like, people just have to die there and their spirits will stay there. So, um, I think that's important to kinda take into consideration with a lot of these things is, like, there might not be any, like, huge, like, tragic story behind anything happening at the Stanley Hotel, but people have definitely died there.
yeah,
And, I mean, it's been open since 1909, so how many people have stayed there? Thousands, maybe 1,000,000, I mean, I don't know, but people have definitely died there, and there's definitely been tragic things that have happened there.
yeah, I was, pulling back the Kraken Cans cast again when I was listening to that episode, they were talking about how the founder of the hotel, Freeland Oscar Stanley, F.O. Stanley, fuck off
FO.
Stanley.
Yeah, fuck off, Stanley.
Um, he he actually went out there because he had oh my gosh, tuberculosis, and, it was, like, kind of, like, get out in the free air, the fresh air or whatever, and, like, we have a sanitarium near us in South Carolina,
Mhm.
and they were talking about, like, I wonder if that was, like, a sanitarium, and it wasn't, like, documented, but because it was kind of like a ritzy type of place, they made a good point of, like, I wonder if the elite of that time, it was kind of like an unspoken sanitarium, and there's, like, maybe unreported tuberculosis deaths
Mhm.
there, which would be interesting.
Yeah. It was
But
almost like a hospice. That's where rich people go to die,
yeah,
their final days, spend it somewhere beautiful.
yeah, well, and that was, like, the prescription for tuberculosis was, like, go to a clean air place, and they would have places like that, you
Yeah.
know, and you'd sit basically in the cold outside.
It's funny because we just had our Arizona episode, and we went to Tombstone, and that's what Doc Holliday died from was tuberculosis.
Yeah, it had, like, a 50%
Mhm.
death rate, so I was like they were talking on cracking cans, they were like, flip a coin,"
Yeah.
literally.
Yeah, so we just wanted to shout out Cracking Cans Cast, good
Yeah,
buddies of ours, and, yeah, so check out that Stanley Hotel episode, and we've also done Halloween special episodes with haunted places. Um, Maybe we'll do one specifically on the Stanley Hotel someday and kinda get more deep into it.
yeah,
But it was a cool little stop that we made.
yeah, it was. So, like I said, we left Denver Airport, we went to Rocky Mountain National Park, and then we were like, "Ooh, we're getting kinda hungry," and there's no food in that national park, so we had to
Let's just shoot a moose or something. Elk deer.
we went into town, got something to eat, and then when we were heading kinda back on the way to the national park, we went to the Stanley Hotel, and then we went back. So we saw, mule deer and elk the first time, and then we went back and we saw a couple moose, a couple moose, and that was cool. I don't know that I've ever really seen a moose in the wild.
The amount of times that we pulled over and got out of the vehicle, it was, like, nonstop
Yep.
to the point to where I just, like, kept my camera on me because it seemed like every 100 yards we were pulling over like, "Oh, look, there's, something," and we saw mule deer, we saw a ton of elk, and it's funny because, like, we spent we didn't spend that much time in the Rocky Mountain National Park, but we were there long enough that, like, the first time we came upon some elk down the ridge in the woods or whatever in a field, we were like, "Oh my god, it's elk. Turn the car off. Alright, we're gonna take photos. Oh my god, it's so amazing." And then, like but they're everywhere there. They're
Yeah.
literally everywhere. They're
So by the time
crossing in
we
front of
left,
you. By the time we left, we were like, "Oh, more elk. Cool." Like,
yeah.
it was still cool, but it was like we were like, "Where's the we wanna see a moose or something now," you know?
Yeah. Yeah, and
Which
we
we
saw
did.
2.
Yeah.
One kind of out in a field, surrounded by I can't remember if it was the elk or the mule deer, and then one kind of, like, hidden in some shrubs, and it had a collar, an A5 collar on it,
Shout
and
out A5 Moose.
yeah, and, there was a woman that kind of approached us, and she said that I think she must be a local, she frequents that place, and she was like, "Oh, can you see the collar on it?" And we were like, "Yeah, it says A5," and she was like, "Okay, yeah, that's a female moose, and this is kind of like her stomping grounds, this is like her area." So we showed her the picture and that you could clearly see the collar that says A5 on it.
Mhm.
That was just cool. She was just out there kinda laying down, eating, chilling,
Yeah.
as people are kind of, like, trying to peek in and look, and there were more people around the other side, because where she sits is, like, there's, like, a hill where you can park, and then down the hill, and there's, like, a little creek that runs through, so there were people on the other side, because I think we had stopped and it had crossed, like, the water,
Mhm.
um, and so we kinda walked around to try to get a different viewpoint, and, yeah, still some shrub in the way, but could still see her. That was really cool.
Yeah, I think the coolest interaction we had with any sort of wildlife, I think you mentioned already, but it was the first time we went to Rocky Mountain National Park, and we there was, like, clearing, just a giant field with a little brook running through it, and
Mhm.
the mountains in the background. There's mountains in the background everywhere, but it was just, like, so picturesque and beautiful, and the whole field was just full of elk and mule deer, and there was a guy down there fishing. And at one point, so we got out of the vehicle and we kinda went down into the field. Um
'Cause there was that Big Thompson River separating here's the road and then the river and then the herd was there. So there weren't any so we were kinda going up towards the river.
mhm.
Um,
Yeah, and we kinda set up by the river, and we watched a elk just, like, slowly walk through the river, through the water, and up the other side, like, right in front of us. And at one point, all 3 of us, me, you, and your dad, were all in prone position, like, taking photos. We were all just laying there.
yeah, it was awesome.
And, we dipped our hands in the water, and it's just clean, fresh water. It's just
So, so cold.
yeah,
I couldn't it hurt after a minute. I put my hands in there and I was like, "Ah!" Had to
yeah.
pull them out.
But it was just, like, so picturesque, and the animals there, because they're in a national park that's heavily visited by people, it's like they're so used to people.
Yeah, they're not that skittish.
No, they're not skittish at all. They'll walk right up to you, right by you, and, you see a lot of things online now, like clips of people going up to wildlife in these national parks and getting mauled to death and stuff. And so I'm not saying that like you should do that. You shouldn't. You should respect the wildlife and like
Give them their
give them
space.
their space and keep your distance. But like it just seemed like in Rocky Mountain National Park, at least, like you can just like they're right there. Like
Yeah.
it's not. You know,
Which is interesting because I think in general, deer are pretty docile. I don't know that about elk, but I've heard some rumors about moose. But you don't want to mess with a moose.
deer can be aggressive if it's rut. If it's mating
Yeah,
season, like male deer will attack you. They
yeah,
can. I've seen it, but yeah, I mean, it's just like it's almost like an outdoor farm or a outdoor zoo almost. I mean, they're everywhere, and you'll be driving down the road, and there'll be a herd of elk just crossing the road, and you just stop and let them go. But they're not like it's not like oh you're too close. Like they're just kind of there. They don't care that you're there.
yeah.
So
That was cool. We did have it was like a whole, I think it was the mule deer that crossed in front of us, and it was a
hmm
whole bunch of them, and we just stopped and we're like watching them go pew, pew,
yeah,
one after the other.
yep,
That was cool.
yeah. So yeah, Rocky Mountain National Park was a lot of fun. It was. the most interaction we had with wildlife, while we were
Yep.
there. Once we got to Moab, once we got to Utah, it was like trying to find wildlife was the high desert's just a different climate.
Yeah.
You see lizards. We didn't see any snakes.
No.
Um,
I've never seen a snake in all the times that I've been out there.
you see jackrabbits.
Yeah. We saw mice.
You see prairie dogs.
Oh, yeah.
Remember we were at a stop sign and we heard
Yes.
all these like little yips, like yip, 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 yip. And
Yeah.
we were like, what the hell is that? And we're looking around and we look over and we just see these little heads poking up. Boop, boop, boop.
Yeah. They were, like, right next to the road.
Yeah.
That was wild.
Yeah.
Yeah. We didn't see any more prairie dogs after that, but that was funny. That was probably leaving. That was on our way to Estes Park,
Yeah.
before we stopped at that little coffee pop-up thing.
Yeah.
Um, yeah, and then
Should
the
have
last
remembered the name for that. Shout out coffee place on the side of the road.
Yeah, it was pretty good too.
Yeah.
I got a Nutella pita.
I got a chorizo something.
Oh, yeah.
Chorizo wrap or
Yeah. We're suckers for a chorizo wrap.
oh dude, Dutch Brothers. Shout out.
Had that today. Um,
We just started getting them out here where we live. And the first time I experienced Dutch Brothers was out west when I went one of my trips to like Vegas. And it was the first time I ever heard or had Dutch Brothers. And then when I was in California for a couple months, I would go to Dutch Brothers. But I remember always thinking all the times I was out west and was having Dutch Brothers, I remember thinking like, man, like out east, like we have like Starbucks and people think that's great. And I remember thinking like, why is nobody open to Dutch Brothers out on the East Coast near us? Like, and sure enough, that
you
was
were
my idea.
you were ahead of your
I was
time.
ahead of the time. I should have started that shit. I should have got a franchise going, but now we have one right up the road.
Yeah, and they're all over, popping up all over
Yeah.
now. Those little drive-through coffee shops are getting really popular. Like Scooter's Coffee,
Yeah.
there's Seven Brew. I still have yet to be to a Seven Brew, but my hairstylist is obsessed.
Yeah.
Um,
Has she ever had Dutch Bros?
I should ask her next time. I don't know.
Dutch Bros has a chorizo wrap that is just phenomenal.
Yeah,
They
it's
also
pretty
have a
good.
secret menu, and that was something else we were talking about. I know we're going off on a tangent, but when I first went to Dutch Bros years ago out west, they had a menu that was like massive. There was every combination of flavors you could imagine you could get, and they had a name for every one, and there was like hundreds. And when we went to this Dutch Bros that just opened up the road here, it was like their menu's like 10 things, and I remember thinking like, where's all the stuff? Like you could get all kinds of stuff. Well, it turns out now it's like, or at least the ones around here, it's like a secret menu.
Yeah, I think they just modernized and tried to make their menu simpler because it can be overwhelming when you walk up to a place and there's like millions of options.
Mhm.
Because theoretically, they have so many different syrup flavors that there's probably millions of combination options that you could do.
Yeah.
So I think the thing is they have all those flavors there, and you can pretty much get any flavor that you want. But they call it a secret menu. I don't know that it's really secret though, but I guess if you didn't know that and it
Mhm.
was your first time going, you would think they have kind of a small menu.
Right. Yeah.
Yeah.
So anyway.
Anyways, the last thing we did in Rocky Mountain National Park was go out to Bear Lake, and it's like a half a mile hike around the lake, but it's so pretty.
Mhm.
There's even like a lot of the pictures of the view from Bear Lake is on the website for Rocky Mountain National Park, like kind of on the
Yeah.
front page. Um it's a pretty easy hike. Looked up online, it said like 20 feet of elevation gain. Like I
Yeah, it
said,
wasn't we weren't really there for like hiking. We didn't go to like
no, we wanted to see the water.
yeah, and that lake is beautiful, the mountains in the background. We spent a lot of time there.
The reflection of the mountains in the
Mhm.
water was gorgeous.
We just kinda laid on the rocks and
Yeah,
just
I
took
could
it
have
in,
napped.
took in the views. Yeah.
Yeah, we didn't get to catch sunset there because we wanted to kind of hit the road. So yeah, we hit the road and Dad drove as long as he could, and we ended up staying in like Silverthorne
Mhm.
um Saturday night because again we didn't have accommodations planned, and then we got up Sunday and headed to Moab, and we stopped by Sego Canyon, which was your suggestion because we
Mhm.
wanted to see the petroglyphs.
Yeah. Yeah, they're technically pictographs, but, you know, that's something that I'm interested in, obviously. I love, like, ancient history and I'm getting a lot more into like native indigenous history, especially in the Southwest. And so I wanted to see, and there's a lot of petroglyphs and pictographs all over Utah and specifically Moab that we could have went and seen, but this was on the way. And the Sego Canyon petroglyphs or pictographs are like especially special because they're so odd. Some of the imagery is really odd.
Yeah.
Um,
Yeah,
yeah,
what are some of the images? 'Cause, there's, like, nods or, allusions to aliens or, like, demonic-looking
yeah.
figures.
Some of them look kind of demonic. They have like horns. They're human figures with like horns. And some of them have big heads and look like they're extraterrestrial in nature, and some just are like regular, of wildlife and things like that.
There seems to be a theme of, like, spirals.
Yeah, yeah. Which I mean, we can kind of get into of like what they were trying to depict. I mean, we're talking about ancient peoples, but there's three different cultures that they attribute the Sego Canyon pictographs to, and the later cultures, the Ute and the Fremont people, happened after like the 1500s or the 1400s when the Spanish arrived because they made um they have pictographs of horses, and so we know the horses weren't reintroduced into the Americas until the Spanish came. um but the older ones, which do have like extraterrestrial looking figures like aliens, um were like archaic people who I don't even think they really know a lot about like who these cultures were, like kind of what they were doing, but some of them go back, 9,000 years ago. And so I've kind of researched this because I was wondering if like cultures in these areas that far north were involved in like peyote rituals and ceremonies. Because you typically find like peyote use further down in like the Rio Grande and in northern Mexico. But because of like trade routes and things between ancient cultures in the Americas, peyote did actually make its way up that far up into Utah. And so it's possible that like this imagery is from different things they were seeing while they were, using these sacred medicines and these plants and things like that. You see that kind of art all over in areas where like San Pedro or peyote usage was like really common. They would just kind of draw what they saw in these visions that they would have, and so it makes you wonder if the people in this area of Utah that were living in these canyons and stuff were also experiencing that, and they were using peyote that far north, and I think they probably were.
Yeah.
That's kind of my theory. Because we know that a lot of stuff got traded far north from Mexico and from the southwest of the what's now the U.S. There's even like talk of some evidence of like Aztec stuff far north as Utah, like
Yeah.
Aztec imagery and petroglyphs and things like that. Um, you know, Supposedly Montezuma's gold got taken. They fled Mexico when the Spanish arrived, and they took it up into the United States and up into Utah, and supposedly that's where Aztec gold is in somewhere in Utah.
Hmm. We should
So
go hunting for it sometime.
people have looked for it, yeah.
Yeah.
But
Yeah, it's just so cool. I mean, I've seen the, petroglyphs or pictographs, around before on previous trips, and, they're kind of just everywhere.
yeah.
Yeah. So there's, like, specific spots you can go to see them, obviously, but you could potentially see them kind of anywhere you go, especially if you're going on the four-wheeler trails or
hmm
the off-road trails, and, because 'cause you're getting to kind of, like, remote places where there's less chance that people would've, come across them and, like, deface them or anything like that.
Well, and it's funny because there's so many sites like that out west in the Southwest that, like, out here, if you find petroglyphs somewhere on a rock out here on the East Coast, like, it gets set up, there's a fence, it's like it's a tourist attraction, people go to see it.
Mhm.
Out there, there's so many that it's just like Potash Road, there's petroglyphs there, and it's like it's just on the side of the road, like,
Yep.
they're right there, like, there's
Yeah.
no fence, no nothing, it's like they're just right there.
Well, and they're some of them are kind of high up on the rock, so there's no real way that you can access them unless you're, like, climbing.
Mhm. Yeah. Yeah, but like the Sego Canyon ones, for example, I mean, you could there was that one across the dirt path that was blocked off. It's like private property that you couldn't actually walk up to them, but I mean, the others you could, you know.
Yeah.
So, yeah, I think when it comes to like ancient cultures and stuff, we have this idea that like everybody was separated throughout time and like this area was the Aztecs and this area was the Ute and this area was the Mayans and this area was the Olmecs and they all lived at different time periods too, but it's like I don't think we understand that back in those days people were better traveled than what we think they were, and so, like, I think a lot of these cultures had trade and, they had experience with each other, like, there was a lot of intermingling, I think, that we don't really think about,
Yeah.
you know?
Yeah. So that was a cool, like, kind of first stop on our way
Mhm.
into Moab. It just kind of worked out that way.
Yeah,
And I'm glad that you suggested it because that was cool. Even the drive in there was pretty cool.
yeah.
Just with like the rock fins all around you and
Yeah, and
stuff
another
like
thing, if
that.
you're ever out that way and you wanna visit Sego Canyon and you wanna actually see the pictographs, it's gonna tell you arrived, but you have to keep going because it
Yeah.
told us we got there and we're looking around and we didn't know where anything was, we didn't
Yeah.
see anything, so you just have to keep going down that road, and,
Yeah.
it's a dirt road, and, man, it was cool. It was cool walking around, taking photos, and, it was like a little hike we got to
Yeah.
do kinda through the desert. It was our first, like, real desert hike. That's kinda the first area we stopped that it was like, "Oh, now we're, like, in, like, the real desert," you know?
Yeah. Yeah.
So,
Yeah. That was awesome. And then we went to the condo and kind of hung out and got ready for our week of hiking and trail riding and all that cool stuff.
yeah.
Yeah. So the first day we did Hell's Revenge, which is like it's a really cool trail. It's pretty long. We were out there like all day, I think.
Mhm.
Um and it's got I don't know, you're just driving on the rock bends. There's some really cool obstacles. I liked it. What'd you think of it?
Yeah, it seemed pretty mild. It was a good way to start the week. Again, I had never been, like, off-roading in Moab before, so it wasn't anything super crazy, but it was fun. Um, some of the, like, hill climbs you'll go up, it's like you're kinda teetering a little bit, but it's nothing super crazy, and it's certainly not as, like, advanced as some of the stuff we did later on in the week, but, at the top of where we kinda went up, and then it kinda levels out, there's a what do they call 'em, the tubs
Yeah,
up
hot
there?
tubs.
Yeah, hot tubs. I think they have, like, actual names, like, they're named
There's
after
one like
people.
Mickey's hot tub.
Yeah,
Yeah.
and so those are pretty intense. I mean, we didn't do them, but I watch people do them, and I've seen videos of people rolling into them and stuff.
Yeah, they're really fun for the razors,
Yeah, yeah.
those guys. And we've done them before. Um, we've got pictures of Dan and their CJ5 like coming up out of them, right? But I think we just kind of opt not to do them with the rentals. I don't know if it's actually on the prohibited list because the rentals have prohibited trails, and then they also have some prohibited obstacles that are optional on some of the trails.
And we may or may not have done some that we weren't supposed to,
Hey, we're not gonna say.
and
I
we
don't
may
know.
or may not have even seen the people that we rented from out there.
Oh yeah, we did see that. Anyways,
Yeah. Well, they saw us, so they know.
yeah, but that we weren't on an unapproved trail.
I thought we were.
No, I
I
don't
thought
think
it was like,
so.
"Ah, fuck, they're here."
I don't think so.
I
No,
thought.
I think that because I was on Metal Masher, and I don't think Metal Masher was an unapproved
Yeah.
um trail, but um yeah. Hell's Revenge is a really good warm up trail, and I think I said that on the last Moab episode too, where I talked about some of the trails that we've done previously. But we also went to Arches National Park and went to Delicate Arch, which I talked about last time in that episode. That is one of my favorite hikes ever.
Mhm.
I do that. We do that every time we go out there, at least once, sometimes twice. We only did it once this time because man, it's a workout
Yeah, it's only like, what, a mile and a half? But it's
up there.
the
Yeah.
elevation gain is pretty strenuous, and I feel like this is every time we try to catch a sunset anywhere. We're always in a rush for whatever reason.
Yeah, it just
It's always
happens that
like
way.
yeah, it just always happens that way where sunset's in 10 minutes and we're trying to get to the lookout and we're like, "Oh, fuck." Same
Yeah.
thing in Costa Rica when we were trying to get up to Jungle Love that overlooks the whole land
Yeah, or when we were in, Nantahala and we're trying to hike up to the,
tower.
Western Ball Tower, yeah,
Yeah.
which was also a strenuous hike.
Yeah, we're always, like, rushing, so you kinda stayed back with your dad and you guys were kinda taking it a little bit easier, and I was just, like, powering up this fucking thing because I'd never been there before, you guys had, so I was like, I'm gonna see the sunset." We got up there in time anyway, but,
Mhm.
first, before we even get to Delicate Arch, I just wanna say the drive in to Arches National Park, which again, I got us in for free with my America the Beautiful pass,
Lifetime.
lifetime, not annual.
Thank you for your service.
Yeah, you're welcome. Uh, that drive in is just amazing, and I wanted to get to Delicate Arch and get up there for sunset, but I was also kinda like, "Man, I wanna stop and take some photos because the drive in, I mean, you're just on this lonely road, and you're just driving through these canyons and this giant red rock, and you're just passing these awesome rock formations and stuff.
Yeah,
It's so picturesque, it's like
and the LaSalle Mountains in the background off in the distance
yeah,
too.
and we'll talk about the LaSalle Mountains too, but the LaSalle Mountains are like I said it's like you could never really get lost in Moab because you can always orient yourself by the LaSalle Mountains because you can see them no matter where you are.
Yeah,
They're so tall and they're right there.
yep,
So if you know that they're what are they like northeast of Moab, I think. Well, if you know where they are, then you know what direction you're
yeah,
going, you know.
yeah, it's a
Um,
good point.
but yeah, that drive into Arches was just incredible. And so we powered up, did the hike, got up there, and right before you kind of round the bend to get to where Delicate Arch is, you can cut up and go up this little hill climb, and you crawl up on your hands and knees or your hands and feet, and you get up, and there's another arch that you can actually like sit inside of, and you can see Delicate Arch from it.
Mhm.
And so I had you come up with me, and that's where we took some of those
Yeah, I
photos.
knew that was there, but in all the times that we've gone, which is probably 14 times,
Hmm.
I've never climbed up that, so that was cool. Get a picture of an arch within an arch,
Yeah, yeah, and
and cool just to sit up there.
yeah, and it's funny because like when we went up there, it wasn't that busy. I mean, there was a few people there, but they
Yeah.
all kind of cleared out at one point, except for a group over here, which we'll talk about. But we kind of had the place to ourselves, and you got your famous arch photo.
Yeah, I did my, bridge pose again,
Yeah,
which I think I hurt my back doing it, but
yeah, she does it every year. She
yeah,
does a bridge in front of the arch, and
yeah,
I was like, "What are you gonna do when we're 70 and we come here?" And we decided we're just gonna be doing a
downward dog.
a downward dog, just do a bridge the opposite way.
Or we can just stand there and hold our hands up
Yeah,
and make our own arch.
yeah. We'll have to do something because I don't know.
Yeah, I don't know how much longer I can do that. I need to start working out more
Just
and doing
working on
more
your
yoga.
bridge.
Yeah.
Just do bridges just to train
Bridge
for
pose, yeah.
when we go to Moab.
I've been training all year for this, doing
Yeah,
bridge poses all year.
I even did one. Wasn't great, but I did it.
Yeah, there was space.
Yeah, yeah.
Yeah, you did it.
So what did yeah, and also and then when you come around, like we got down off that little hill that overlooks the arch, and you come around, you're literally walking on the side of a cliff. There's a cliff to your
Mhm,
left if you're going towards the arch, and it just drops off and it's a cliff. So you have to also be kind of careful. And we went up there for sunset, so when we went back, it was dark. And
mhm.
so you have to have headlamps or flashlights or something.
Yeah, or, hold the wall.
Yeah, hug the wall, yeah.
Yeah, I talked about it before, there's been times where, like, little mice have been running kinda by your feet along the wall there, and it's like, man, I could see somebody getting, like, you know, freaked out about a mouse and, like, jumping off the cliff on accident because they
Yeah.
try to jump out of the way or something.
But that's also, like, kinda going back to what I was talking about with the petroglyphs and stuff and how they're just kinda there. It's like, out west in that area, it's everything's so much, like, it's so deregulated. Whereas, like, here, if you went to a state park or a national park and you were hiking beside a cliff, there would 100% be like
A
a
railing.
rope or a railing or something. But out there, it's like they leave it wild,
Yeah.
and it's like it's your responsibility to be safe and make sure you have your wits about you when you're doing these things. And there's something really refreshing about that. You really feel like you're out there, even if
Yeah.
it's a national park that a lot of people go to. It's like, there is a sense of danger, which makes it more adventurous. And yeah, they just really kind of leave it untouched.
Yeah.
And I appreciate that.
Yeah. So do I. Thanks for bringing that up because, yeah, we don't talk about that a whole lot, but that's totally what it is out there. It's like there's not really a whole lot of like facility,
Hmm.
in that, like, don't get me wrong, the national park itself is modern. There's plenty of bathrooms and hookups or whatever, but like at those sites specifically, and there's even some paths that are like paved on the way, but I don't know. It's like they're paved in a way that there's dirt and sand that kind of covers it, so at first glance it doesn't look, like
Hmm.
paved. Um, so
But even the off-road trails, I mean, the amount of people that go out there off-roading, it's like the off-roading mecca, you know. And even the off-road trails, there's no guardrails, there's nothing to stop you from falling off. I mean, Moab Rim, like, if you tip over on Moab Rim, you're gonna roll off a cliff. And you think that they would put up, like, a rail or something, but they don't, and they just kinda leave it alone and say, "Do what you do, but, it's up to you to survive."
yeah, well, also, I mean, I wonder. There's probably a huge factor of it that's like, leave it untouched, kind of like no trace as much as you can. Um, but I wonder if it's also that because the it's the sandstone and the rock out there is changing all the time. I mean, there's rock slides and stuff all the time that what if they did put a rail up and then,
Yeah.
the
I mean, they have
it just
signs and stuff
changed.
out there, and I did see a couple places where there would be, like, a little barrier or something, but, I mean, for the most part, there's no safety precautions out there.
Yeah.
And so but getting back to Delicate Arch, I mean, we stayed for the sunset, it was awesome.
Well, and I had been talking it up to you too about, oh man, the stars out there. It's a dark sky park. I love going up to Delicate Arch and just laying down on the rock and looking up at the stars. And so I was like, yeah, let's go watch for sunset and we'll do some astro tonight. Not even thinking it was so cloudy because it
Yeah.
had just rained the day before. It was so, so cloudy. So we get up there and we're like, oh, sunset's nice, which clouds make for a really great sunset, but not for astro. So we're like looking up and it's completely overcast. And we're like, okay, well, we're not going to get any astro tonight.
Yeah.
But there was another group up there that was kind of thinking the same thing.
Mhm.
And they were the ones, my dad showed them, because this was years ago. My dad got this picture and he was like, so energized by it, so proud of it because there's a certain place that will collect water if it rains. A lot of times if you go there and it hasn't rained recently, it there's a chance that there's not going to be any water up there. But if you go right after a rain, there's this one place that collects some water and you can get your phone. Can't do it with like a a actual camera. You have to use your phone with the lens so you can get it closer to the water, but you can get a picture with the arch, the delicate arch reflected in that pool of water. And so there was another little pond there. So I did that. My dad did it, and he's like crouching down getting it. And then basically anyone that he could tell,
Mhm.
he would show them the picture that he got and coach them through getting a picture for themselves too. So he did that with that group of boys.
Yeah.
And yeah, we saw quite a few mice up there.
Yeah, you mentioned the mice earlier, and there were just we'd be sitting up there, and you'd just see, like, scatters.
I
You
know.
just see these little desert mice scattering all over up there.
We're like, we need to check our bags, make sure we're not taking one with us.
Yeah.
And we also joking about the hantavirus.
Yeah. Because yeah, this wasn't long after the hantavirus, so you're like, "Oh boy." But one of the mice actually or a group of the mice actually stole some of the tourists that were next to us. It was this group of guys, and I guess they were, like, having dinner up there. They had a sandwich, and the mice stole their sandwich.
Yeah.
because we saw them kinda like, "What the fuck?" And, like, they're turning on their headlamps and stuff, and we were like and they're like, "Yeah, the mice stole our sandwich." And we saw, like, little trails of bread.
Yeah, that was funny, and they were like, "Should we leave it? Should we take it?" And we were like, "Yeah, I mean," because it was in, like, a little plastic container. We're like, "Yeah, take the plastic, but they'll finish the."
The
Because I mean,
sandwich.
yeah, and it's like, at that point, you're not gonna eat it. You don't know if they're carrying anything or not. I mean, probably not, question mark, but,
Right.
yeah.
Yeah.
You don't wanna carry that back, so that was funny.
Mhm.
The little mice wreaking havoc on on their little picnic.
So then going back down, because there was a number of people that were up there that left, and they had never been up there before. They said it was their first time, and so we kinda told them, like, use flashlights, headlamps, or whatever, and stay to the left,
Yeah,
because now the wall going back would be on your left, and so we're like, "Just stay to the left, because again, it's dark and you're walking on the edge of a cliff,
yeah,
and so going back, um, we also used our headlamps and we hiked back in the dark, and it's such a nice hike going back because it's, like especially at night, because it's again, it is a dark sky park, so it's, like, not a lot of light pollution, and it's just you're in the desert, and it's just beautiful. And that hike back was really cool. And we
yeah.
got to a certain point, and we heard a woman call out.
Oh, yeah, she said, "What's your name?" And I was like, "Uh, Megan?" And they were like, "Oh," and they, like, turned around. They didn't even
Yeah,
I was like, "What's your name?" And they didn't respond. And we can tell that there was, like, a group of people up there, and we saw several groups of people that seemed to be on, like, astrophotography tours
yeah.
over the times that we were there. So maybe that was the first one that we encountered, but I remember walking up to them and just feeling so confused on why there was.
There was like 15 or 20. There was a
Yeah,
bunch of people, and
it was giving me, like, Bohemian Grove vibes when we were walking up to them because they're all standing with their either regular light headlamps or the red light headlamps just off to the side, all lined up, looking at you as you're, like, walking through. So I was like, "What is happening?" It
yeah.
felt like we were walking through a cult.
Yeah, and I think they called out and asked what your name was because maybe they lost somebody from their group or
Yeah,
something.
I think so.
Um,
But and then when we walked up, they were like, "Oh, it's Megan."
yeah. Yeah, and we passed by them, and then, like, you could look back, and again, it's just dark, and you just see all these red headlamps just do 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 do,
Yeah.
just all these people coming.
Yeah, but that was so weird. I wonder if they just went there for to try to look at the sky, which that would have been a kind of a shitty day to go on an astrophotography tour because it was so cloudy. I bet
Yeah.
they didn't see anything, and maybe that's we were trying to, like, talk amongst ourselves on why they didn't go up to the arch. Because if you're gonna start they did, like, half the hike,
Mhm.
and they stopped and turned around and kinda followed us out, not, like, close by or anything, not that they were actually following us, but it was clear that they were coming back out. So, yeah, it
Yeah.
was just interesting why they didn't go all the way up.
And for anybody wondering, if you're ever hiking at night and you have a headlamp, the red light is etiquette.
Yeah.
That's the courtesy light.
Mhm.
We had people shining their fucking lights right in our eyes when we were at Double Arch,
Bright lights, yeah.
and we were like, "Dude, like, turn that shit off."
Well, and speaking of the lights, in reference to the dark sky park too, it's actually, uh, I think it's illegal
It's technically illegal,
to
yeah.
light up the arches because it's a dark sky park, so, like, you do your best to reduce the light pollution. So in photography, there's a thing called light painting where, like, if it's dark outside, you take, like, a flashlight or a light or something and you use it to quote unquote like paint your subject so it illuminates that a little bit in the picture, but you can still tell that it's nighttime in the photo. Um and yeah, so you're not supposed to do that, especially at the arch, right? And we were taking pictures. I was just using my iPhone, had it set up on a tripod and doing like 30-second exposures. And this couple walked up, they were from Canada, and they were like, "Oh, it's our first time being here." They were like, "Do you mind if we, like, take a look at it?" And I was like, "Sure." And I was, like, in the middle of taking a picture, and they, like, kinda shine their light on the arch and lit it up.
Was this a Double Arch?
No, 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 this was at a Delicate
Delicate?
Arch,
Oh, okay.
and, I was like, "It might actually make my picture look cool." So technically, I didn't light paint, but I got a photo of
Mhm.
someone else that was quote unquote light painting. They were just trying to see it, which I understand where they're coming from. You hiked up there, probably they started probably at sunset,
Right.
and you get up there and you're like, well, I want to see it.
Yeah. Um, so yeah, we passed that large group of people that were missing somebody or whatever, and another thing that we saw kind of off the trail we came to and kind of saw it with the light from our headlamps was there was this rock that looked just like a toilet.
It did. Like it had a bowl in it and it had like a square back. Like it was kind of shaped like a little L. And yeah, I took a
I don't
picture
know
of
if it
you.
was like just if it just was natural and just happened to look and be shaped just like a toilet or if somebody carved it that way, but it looked like a toilet.
It did.
And I went up and looked in it because I wanted to see if somebody used it. And then I thought about using it.
Yeah, I got a picture of you like squatting over it as a joke.
Yeah. So just interesting stuff.
Yeah. That was all day one.
Yeah.
First day. Second day, we did the Metal Masher Trail, which was a cool trail. I don't know that we had done it before. Our group was saying that they hadn't done it in like 20 years. So I would assume that we hadn't done it with them before. But yeah, that was a nice trail, and you come up to like a cliff, and there's plenty of space for like jeeps and stuff. But that's where I got some really cool drone footage
Mm-hmm.
of at the cliff. And the drone kind of does a quick shot like around, so you can see it starts at the jeeps like over the cliff, and you can just see the different angles of the cliff and like how just straight down it totally is.
Yeah, you were like a legit drone photographer and pilot this week
Yeah.
that we were there because I feel like out of the whole group, Troy's like the leader and he kind of leads the pack and but I feel like our group, we were like the resident photographers for the group,
Yeah.
especially you and your dad. I mean, I took a lot of photos, but you and your dad, like with the drone, and your dad takes a lot of really awesome photos. Like the whole group was just like, oh yeah, like you should get drone footage of this. And like we would set up the drone and
Yeah, there was a trail that we went on. Troy was like, "Hey, can you get some footage of us going through the canyon?" And also, I'll get to it when we talk about Golden Crack. But there's also times there was this trip didn't go by without its mistakes. There was a couple times where I thought I was recording and I was not. So,
it happens. Yeah.
but yeah, and then we put our so the trail signs there are really cool. They're metal, and then they're kind of like what's
Fabricated, cut out.
yeah. So like the trail names are cut out of the metal,
Mm-hmm.
and so
We
a
put
lot
some
of
stickers all over Moab.
yeah,
Yeah, parking lots.
yeah, and
There's
some
stickers
people would
everywhere.
argue or mm, reprimand us because it's like not leave no trace, but there were other stickers there too, and
I mean, these signs are already not natural. I mean, they're already there,
yeah,
and
good point,
there's thousands of stickers
good
on them.
counterpoint.
Um, I think it's funny that all the trails have these like super like scary sounding names. Hell's Revenge, Steelbender, Metal Masher.
Yeah, yeah,
And it's like, why can't one just be named like Strawberry Gumdrop? you know,
yeah,
they're all scary sounding.
yeah.
But scare. What wouldn't it be funny if like Strawberry Gumdrop Trail was actually like the worst one? People are like, "Oh, I want to do this Strawberry Gumdrop Trail," and then it's like just cliffs and fucking
Yeah.
crazy. You know?
Well, yeah, there's like those trail names, but I think the worst trail out there, I don't say worst, I mean like the most difficult trail is Pritchett Canyon. And
Yeah,
that's just like, oh, a canyon.
yeah, that's true. And even Moab Rim doesn't sound dangerous, but it is, which we'll get into.
Yeah.
Um, but I just think it's funny. It's like they try to make the trail for the most part make a lot of the trails sound like super scary and stuff. And it's like, why can't one just be named something super sweet?
Yeah.
Yeah. So
Yeah, I'd be interested to look into like the history of like what the names of them and things like that, like how they get their name.
well, they're also pretty self-explanatory. I think Steelbender is people fucking
Bend some steel.
fuck their shit up, and I think Metal Masher's the same way.
Yeah.
We
I
mashed
mean,
some
all
metal
of
on
them.
Metal Masher too.
Yeah.
Yeah,
Yeah. You mash some metal on all of them,
yeah,
mostly. So it's like, why did that one out of all of them get the name?
yeah.
But
So,
yeah,
so that brings us to day 3. right,
Mhm.
and so we woke up and, we did the Poison Spider and the Gold Bar Rim Trail.
Yeah, it's an all-day trail. I think looking back at the pictures that I took, I can estimate that we got on there about 9 AM, and then we got off at, like, 5.
Yeah,
Um,
it's like an 8-hour workday. It's better than being at the office.
yeah,
Yeah, these
totally.
trails, like, we'd go on, and we were on the trail for so long, and you're just being jarred around for not 8, 9 hours, but it's so much fun, and
Yeah,
it's so much better than, like, a normal workday or just and, it's like, we just had so much fun.
yeah, it was awesome, and
And it
this is the trail that, there's an obstacle called Golden Crack where you kinda like, the Jeep goes over a crack, and if you've hit it certain ways, you'll, like, pop a wheel up, and it looks really cool.
you don't really go over the crack, you kinda go in the crack. I mean, it's a
Basically,
deep
yeah.
crack, but you, like, go down, and then you have to kinda go up. It's almost like one of the tubs in a way.
In a way, yeah, it's not quite as deep as the tubs, but yeah,
No,
yeah,
but
you have
yeah,
a good point. But this is the one where Troy specifically asked me to get a video of him, and I was like, "Yeah, yeah, okay, let
because
me
he's
get
never
set
had
up,"
a video of him doing it
because
before.
he always goes first,
Right.
which normally, we get up there we kinda sped through this trail, I think, because maybe there was a little bit of PTSD from past times where, like, people have broken down and, we turned an 8-hour trail into, like, a 12 or more hour trail, so I think we were really trying to, like, push through it on this one. Because I mean, we didn't really stop a whole lot, but in years past, we'd actually stop at the Golden Crack and kinda hang out for a little bit before we kinda move on, so that gives people time to, get out and get set up or whatever and take some videos, and, like, usually that's one where a lot of people are spectating and taking videos, or pictures. And so but this is the one where he specifically asked me to get a video of him, so I was like, "Yeah," I got all set up. I had put it on my tripod, so I had which was the tripod was collapsed, so it was just a monopod in my hand, and so I had it extended, and I got, like, the frame right, and I pushed the button on my tripod, which Bluetooths to my phone, but I forgot to turn the button on and, like, sync it to the phone, which you just have to long press it to turn it on. But it was so bright outside, I couldn't see that the light wasn't on, and I wasn't looking at my phone screen to see that it was actually recording, so I'm like, "Oh, yeah, cool," and he goes across, and then I look down, and it was not recording the whole time, and I was like, "Oh, no."
Do it again. Do it
I
in
did.
reverse.
I was, like, joking, but also sort of serious, trying to tell Troy to, like, go back over it and do
Yeah,
it again so I could capture it, and, yeah, I'm real sorry. I think I said I felt so bad
yeah.
because that was the
Because
one
he
thing that
normally doesn't really care about
yeah,
photos and videos
he'll
and
never
stuff.
ask for anything.
He's very in the moment, but, like, this is the one time he was like, "Hey, could you please get a video of me doing this? Because I've never had a video of me doing it, and it's pretty dope."
I was like, "Yeah, I got you," and
Yeah.
so for, like, the first time probably he's ever asked me for anything ever.
Yeah, but I think you made up for it with all the cool drone footage and stuff you
Yeah,
got. I mean, you
so
got some awesome stuff.
well, and I got a cool picture of him at Moab Rim that he actually sent me a picture. He put it as his desktop background at work.
Oh, nice. Yeah.
So I was like, all right, redemption.
Yeah.
Um, but yeah, that's also the trail that we thought we were gonna flip over.
Yeah, so in these rental Jeeps and in a lot of Jeeps, I guess, they have the pitch and the roll degrees.
Yeah, on their off-road pages.
And people that off-road know that, like, a certain degree roll means that you're going over, at least I guess for, like, a standard Rubicon, right?
Yeah,
And a certain pitch degree means that you're gonna flip, forward or backward. So they tell you this, you can see this in the Jeeps, and so we learned that the rollover threshold, this says 27 and 30, I thought it was 26,
yeah,
um, for a side-to-side roll. So we went through a obstacle, and we had 2 tires in the air.
yeah. It was like I can't remember which side, but it was either the driver front and the passenger rear.
It was the passenger side was up in the air. It was on my side because I was sitting
Okay,
driver's side rear, and we were on our side, on the driver's side, and you were up in the air.
okay,
Because I remember thinking I should have
that's
sat at the
right.
other end, that way there was more weight on that side.
Yeah, so it was the driver front and the passenger rear tires were the only tires making contact with the rock. And so it was like teetering, and we could feel it teetering, and we could see on the screen that the roll angle was like going between 23 and 26. So, like we just said, we looked it up and, take it for what it's worth. It's AI. It says the threshold for tipping is between 27 and 30 degrees of like the side to side roll angle.
I
And
thought
so,
I thought Burns had looked it up at the pool when we
and
were
it
at the
was,
pool, and he said it was 26. And so we're watching the screen hit 26, and we're like, we're about to
and
roll
we feel
over.
tippy.
Yeah.
And because, you're going like this. So, like, we go down the obstacle and dad kind of stopped, and that kind of caused the, shift to feeling back and forth. And you can tell that you're not on all four tires. And I can see dad get stressed out, and then he also was like, help, 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 Troy, please get out and help. And so we had radios, and I could tell he was kind of like, I don't know, a little frozen where he was, because I think he was feeling the downward part of the angle. Like if we were going to roll, we were going to roll. He was going to hit first, right? And so I grabbed the radio that was sitting kind of on the dash, and I just repeated exactly what he said in the radio. I was like, help, 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 Troy, please get out and help. And he like kind of like looks back at us, and he was like, you're fine, dude. Just keep going. You're going
Yeah.
to come down. And we're like,
Troy's so like, he's such a pro. He's just like, you're fine.
he's like, I just did it.
Yeah.
He was like, what hurt you is you stopped. You should have just kept going. And he was right. But it was like to be feeling that side to side roll, seeing the angle on the screen and like go forward. Like he inched forward, and then, we felt the tires make contact again, and we went down, and it was no problem. But in the moment when you're like, because you can't see what's in front of you, like at the angle we're at, what's below the tires and what's going to happen. So,
Yeah.
and I mean, his Jeep has a little bit different wheelbase than the rentals. So, yeah, we just watched him go down it, but it's not always the same experience from Jeep to Jeep because of,
Right.
the different,
Setups.
yeah.
Yeah. I mean, before that had happened, when we got a little tippy a couple times, and I remember your dad saying like, because again, this is the first time I've ever been off-roading out there. I mean, I've seen people tip over in off-road vehicles before, flipping back over, but it's a rental, so you definitely don't want to tip. But like, your dad kind of made it sound like, well, as long as we're not next to a cliff or something, like it's not a big deal if we tip over right here. It's like whatever. So that's kind of what I was thinking. So I wasn't even nervous. Like when we first like hit that 26 degrees, I was just kind of. But then like I saw the way he reacted, and I was like, are we supposed to be nervous? Like, I guess I'm nervous because you guys seem nervous. He made it
Yeah.
sound like, well, if we tip over, as long as we don't fall off a cliff, like whatever. But as soon as we were about to tip over, it was like, help, help,
Yeah.
and I was just like, what? Like,
Yeah. Well, I mean, yeah, I don't want to.
right. But it sounded like we were in danger. And I was like, I don't, you know,
Yeah. Yeah.
again, tipping over where we were wouldn't have been as bad as if we tipped over at like Moab Rim or something,
Yeah.
you
Which
know.
we didn't even drive up Moab Rim. But
Right.
yes, point understood. Which is funny. We talked about this while we were there too. That 26-degree roll angle, it didn't feel good, right? But we weren't next to a cliff, so it
Right.
wasn't awful. But there were some times where, like, just driving up either a bumpy road or slightly, rocky obstacles near a cliff, and we hit a 5-degree roll angle,
Yeah.
and it's like,
Yeah.
ooh,
You
they just feel worse.
especially if it's on your side, like
Yes.
you're sitting on the driver's side or the passenger side, and you feel yourself tipping towards a cliff, and you look over and you're just like, I know it's only 5 degrees. I know we're fine, but like,
Yes. Yeah.
like,
Yeah.
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 We
Definitely
spent a
had.
lot of time on the edges of cliffs that week,
Yes, we did.
whether we were standing on the edges of cliffs
Or in the Jeep.
or in the Jeep. Yeah.
Yeah. Yeah. That was awesome. So that was day 3. And then day 4 we did Steel Bender Trail, which we did last time, and that one's a really fun one. It's got little creek crossings across Mill Creek. And there is an obstacle there that we ended up not doing because it looked so treacherous. It was called the Dragon Tail. And that's actually where everybody turned around.
Mm-hmm.
And I had to go to the bathroom.
Oh, yeah.
So
Should we talk about that?
I'll just I'll just say.
If only you had that rock toilet that we found out at Arches.
Yeah, there was so it's illegal to poop in the desert, but
I don't it's like, what are you supposed to do?
yeah, uh I did my best, okay?
Yeah.
I packed out the teepee. We'll just say that. I won't get into any more detail here, but just know it happened.
That's my woman. I love you. I was so proud.
Oh, you were like, "Do you want me to come with you?" I was like, "No."
Because most women would be like, "No, you need to take me into town." Like, I no.
Well, there's no way.
Well, I'm
We're on
just
a trail.
I know, but
I did what I
you didn't
could,
even
but
think twice. You were like, "I gotta go."
I was like, well, I'll go find a spot."
Yeah.
Dug a little hole. Anyways. Yeah, that was a fun trail. It's a shorter trail, probably like 4, maybe 5 hours,
Mhm.
which that's a long time, but in
Yeah.
trail times, not really. Um, yeah, but then we went into Moab, downtown Moab, because we wanted to do that the whole trip, and it kind of felt like, as the days were getting when we first got there, it's like, okay, man, we got all week, like we got so much time, and then every day, it's like, you're just getting closer and closer to the end of the trip. And so we're like, okay, we've been wanting to go into town. We've been wanting to go back to Arches. Like, I know we have a Jeep rental and we want to do the trails and stuff, but like we also really want to get into town. So I think at one point we were kind of getting a little nervous that we weren't going to be able to get to spend any time in downtown.
Mhm.
Um,
And by the way, since you mentioned that, we had 2 Jeep rentals.
oh yeah, that's right.
So we got the rental Jeep in Moab for off-roading, but when we got to Denver, the rental car
It was
that we
also a
all
Jeep.
was a Jeep. Yeah, so we actually had 5 Jeeps with us
Yeah.
in the group.
Well, yeah. Two, yeah.
2 of them were ours.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Yeah, that was funny. We had a white one and a silver one.
Yep.
Um, Yeah. So, yep, we got to go downtown, got to get some shirts, which we're wearing. I got an Arches National Park one that I didn't have before, which I was looking for an Arches National Park sweatshirt because I used to have one that I loved and it was so pretty, but I accidentally left it on the plane on our way to Peru. RIP to that sweatshirt.
Some Peruvian lady has it now.
Yeah.
Some Quechua lady.
Cleaned the plane off and was like, ooh, sweatshirt.
Yeah.
Yeah, I wonder if I can call the Lima airport and be like, hey, do you guys have a lost and found? Probably not. I mean, it's been so long, but anyways, yeah. And you wanted to go take pictures of the Gonzo Inn.
Yeah, just driving through town, man, there's so many cool little shops and, like, it's just a really cute, but it's a really cool downtown. I feel like downtown Moab is what Sedona wants to be.
Yeah,
Because I wasn't as impressed with Sedona. I mean, the nature of around Sedona is amazing, but like Sedona itself, a lot of people talk it up. I don't know. Moab's a little more like it's not as crowded, or it wasn't at least when we were there.
yeah,
Um, it's decently priced food and things to do, and it's not a bunch of like hippy dippies. It's just like a regular little western town.
yeah. There's a lot of really pretty murals and stuff around too.
Yeah, it's still artsy, but it's not like pretentious artsy, if that makes sense.
Yeah,
I don't know. I wasn't overly impressed with Sedona. I really like Moab,
yeah,
downtown Moab, and yeah, one of the just driving through town, I saw the sign for the Gonzo Inn, and which is Hunter S. Thompson. I'm a big Hunter S. Thompson fan, so it's got a cool sign and everything. So I wanted to go and take a photo of it.
yeah, yeah. And there's also just a lot of really cool hotels. They got cool names down there and cool signs and stuff in the
Yeah,
town,
saw
like the Archway
A lot of
Inn.
Coco Pelli's imagery there.
Yep.
Um, there's a really cool. I think it's called the is it called the Canyon Inn, or is it might even be called the Cocopelli Inn, but it's the sign is the arch with a Cocopelli on a hammock.
Yeah, it's the Archway Inn.
Archway Inn. Okay.
Yeah,
Yeah. So it was really cool. Even where we stayed at the condo had like Cocopelli stuff everywhere.
yeah,
It was cool.
yeah. It was awesome. And then, so we didn't spend actually a whole lot of time downtown. We went to a couple stores, got some stuff, souvenirs to bring back, and then I got a sticker that says I shit in the desert.
There you go.
And then we ate at Zach's, the pizza place down there, which was
Awesome
it
pizza.
was really good.
Yeah.
And our waitress, I forget her name, but she was really fun. She was awesome.
Yeah, I'm sure anybody that ever goes there, if they hear this, they'll know who we're talking about without even saying her name. She was very animated and lively and very nice and
Bubbly,
bubbly,
made a
and
lot of jokes.
yeah, she was awesome.
Yeah. She was very, like, personable.
Yeah.
Um, she was wearing, like, a camo skirt. It was like a camo jean skirt or something like that. It was cool.
And we asked her suggestions on going to the LaSalle Mountains.
Yeah, like which lake up there was the better lake, and she gave us good because she's a local. She said that she had been working at Zach's for like 10 years or something like that,
Yeah.
if I'm remembering correctly. But yeah, so we left there and we went and well, we dropped mom off because she didn't want to go driving. And we went up and drove through the LaSalle Loop, which I think if you do the whole loop in just one, it's like 45 minutes, maybe
Mhm.
an hour. So you can kind of go up into the mountain and then come back down through Moab. But we went up there, and again, I feel like we found ourselves like racing again for the sunset because we wanted to
Yeah.
go to the LaSalle Loop, but we wanted to go back to Arches National Park, and it was like we kept going on these side quests. Like we took that one road that was like it was like big rock gravel. And it was one lane and going through all these aspens and like I don't know. I remember just looking out and like keeping my eyes peeled for bear because I was like, I feel like there's bears around here. But you remember that road and we were just
Yeah.
like barreling through to get to the top of it.
Yeah.
And I was like,
And yet again, we were chasing sunsets.
yeah.
Yeah.
Yeah. So I'm like, okay, well, we should probably head back down because, we have like an hour before we're going to get to Arches. And Dad was like, oh, okay. And
But again, the LaSalle Mountains overlook Moab, and so you
yeah.
can see them, and you could definitely tell the elevation change when you drive up into the LaSalle Mountains.
Oh, yeah. My ears were
Because
popping.
even Moab is, I don't know what the elevation is, but I mean, you're in the high desert, right?
Yeah.
So you go up into the LaSalle Mountains, and it's like a whole nother level of elevation, and
And there was
the
snow
temperature
up there.
changes like that.
That is true.
You
Yeah.
know?
There's like a 20-degree difference up there.
Yeah.
Yeah, we saw some deer up there too. That was
Hmm.
cool. And then driving back down as the golden hour is approaching and just the g- golden sun painting the red rock formations is just awesome.
Yeah.
You know, every moment that you're looking out there is different just depending on the lighting.
Hmm.
So, like, we'll talk about Dead Horse Point State Park. The same thing there is like you can take a picture 1 minute and then 5 minutes later you can take the same, composition of the same picture and they're two totally different pictures just because of the way the lighting is hitting the rocks. It's just awesome.
Yeah. So after we left the LaSalle Mountains, we went and did probably my favorite thing we did on this whole trip, and we went to Double Arch,
Yeah, which I had never done before. We always just do Delicate
which
Arch.
is crazy because Double Arch is
And there's
amazing.
so much more to see.
I mean,
So it's
Delicate Arch is cool. It's really nice. I suggest everybody go see it if you're in Moab. Double Arch is awesome.
and the hike is so much easier. It's
Yeah, I mean
shorter.
it's right there, but
It's like half a mile.
as you're coming down to go to the parking area for Double Arch, you can see it from the road and you can see people up inside of it. And that's kind of where we first saw, we were like, oh shit, like let's go up in the arch.
Yeah, I remember driving from the other side because on the other side, when you're driving up to it, you could just see it's just like a hole in the rock. It's one arch. I didn't realize that was double arch. I thought it was like one of the windows because there's other arches that look similar and they're called the windows. Until you get to, so it's like that one arch, and then there's kind of like rock all the way around it on each side. And so we keep going down the road and we get, like you said, down to the parking lot and you can see, oh, the other side of it and that there's actually the two arches. But when we were driving up, when we saw the people sitting in it, we were like, oh, look, you can see people sitting in that arch up there. Like, I didn't realize that's where we were going.
Mm-hmm.
So when we got up there, yeah, we were like, let's climb up it. And the hike down to the double arch is not bad. It's paved, it's relatively flat. It's easy to do. But to hike, like climb up to the arch
Yeah.
is something different.
It's
Not
probably
everybody can do
like
that.
20, 25 feet. And it's not straight up, but it's almost straight
You're
up.
rock
You're
climbing.
rock climbing up to get up to it. So it's pretty treacherous to get up to. And once you get up there and you're actually in the arch, the other side drops off to a cliff.
Yeah, it's like 30, 40 feet or something like that.
Yeah, it's a little higher. But you're up there,
Yeah,
and so we scale this rock wall up to Double Arch, and there's some other people already up there, kind of sitting
for the sunset.
for the sunset, and we overlooked, out the other end of Double Arch and kind of looked over the landscape and watched the sunset. And so I remember I turned to you and I was like, we should probably get down from here before it gets dark, not knowing what was to come. And before it gets dark, we should probably make our way try to climb back down
Yeah.
because you could easily slip and fall and get hurt trying to climb down.
Well, not to mention when we were up there, it was so windy.
Yep,
It was so windy, and it was like, oh my
like a
gosh.
sandstorm, just
Yeah,
gusts of sand in your face.
yeah,
And while we were up there, there was a older gentleman there with his family, and he was having a hard time getting down.
yeah.
And
And that's the thing is a lot of people try to face so like, you know, you're going down, you're looking at where you're going down. A lot of people try to face and go down like with their back against the wall.
mhm,
But it's actually easier if you're facing the wall because they have more it's easier to hold on and find things to grab onto.
yeah,
But yeah, you were watching that guy and
his daughter, who was maybe about our age, was trying to like help him get down the wall. And I remember just thinking, like, I hope this guy doesn't fall and hurt himself in front of us. Like, but I didn't. I guess I could have tried to help him, but I didn't because I mean, she seemed like she kind of had it handled. But there was another couple that came up, and do you remember their names?
oh man, uh Sam
Yeah, the guy's name was
and
Sam,
Karabu.
and his girlfriend's name was Karabu, and they came up and they climbed up the wall and sat next to us. And I think at that point we were like the only four up there
Yeah.
about.
She was scared. She
And
didn't want to climb up there, but she did.
well, she climbed up okay. She didn't really want to, but she climbed up, and we all kind of looked out over, the sunset and stuff. And then coming down, you and I went down first, and then she was having a hard time coming down,
Yeah,
and she was terrified.
she was terrified. Yeah.
And so we did end up helping her.
Yeah, all of us.
It was
Sam was helping her, you were
yeah,
helping her. I kind of set some stuff down and climbed back up. There was another woman that was there who had just walked up that was like helping and
yeah,
helping in ways of either you guys were up there and you kind of had like you were holding her hand or trying to find footholds or whatever and like or me and the other lady were kind of like trying to verbally coach her through like where she should go or
mhm,
kind of like cheering her on of like yeah you're good keep stepping down your foot's about to touch like you're gonna be
yeah,
fine.
yeah. And so me, you, and Sam were all kind of at the bottom, and we are trying to help her. She took my hand at one point. She's like, "Can I hold your hand?" And I was like, "Sure." And she like held my hand, and then she's like, "No, wait, can I hold it this way?" And I was
Yeah.
like, "Okay." But she got almost to the bottom, but she was still, and she was like scared, and she's like, "I
Mhm.
don't know where to step. I don't." And eventually, like her boyfriend next to me and myself, we were just like, "Just we'll catch you. Just jump. Like, just you're fine."
Mhm.
And so she kind of like jumped, and we kind of both like grabbed, like caught her, and she was very grateful to you and I. She,
Yeah, she kept thanking us. She was like, "Thank you guys so much. Thank you
yeah.
so much." And we were like, "Yeah."
And so, but it's funny because, we decided we should get down from up there before it was dark, but we ended up just going back up at night anyway.
Yeah, we did. Not this same time. No. Yeah, it was the same
You said it
time.
was the same time.
It was the same time. So we waited until after sunset and then we got all of our stuff out. We went back up to the Jeep and we told Dad, we were like, "Hey," cuz he was getting pictures somewhere else. Um Same area-ish, but he was taking some pictures. And the skies were clearer, so there was better opportunity for astrophotography, although the moon was it wasn't quite a half moon, almost, but it was pretty bright. Um,
Yeah, we want to do astrophotography at Double Arch because it's just a really cool place when the stars come out to see the Double Arch formation with the stars in the night sky. It's just incredible. And so we stayed there. And at a certain point, we were the only ones there,
mhm.
which is kind of wild too. And I remember I asked you, I was like, "Are we actually gonna go you wanna actually go up, like, in the dark?" And you were like, "Yeah."
Yeah, I
So,
was like, "We've already done it. We got our
we
headlamps."
put our headlamps on, and I went up first, and I scaled this wall, and it's dark, and I just have a headlamp on, and I get up there, and it's pitch black other than my light, but it's, like, super windy again,
Yes, sandblast winds, like,
and I
literally,
can't
you have
really
to close
see
your eyes.
'cause and again, there's on the other side once you get up there, you're like, there's a drop off this way, and then there's a cliff over here, and you wanted to get some photos of me up in the arch at night,
Mhm.
and you were like,
I was like, "Stand up."
yeah, you were like, "Stand up," and I was like, "Okay." And so I, like, stood up as best I could without being, like, blown off the cliff, and you got that really awesome photo of me, which I posted, and,
Yeah, I
we'll
got a
post
really cool
again.
picture of you, and then I got a few while you were, like, moving and climbing that look like skinwalkers
Yeah,
because
I'm
it's,
like,
like, blurry because of the exposure.
yeah, but, yeah, it was and so then you came up and we both kinda chilled up in the arch.
For as long as we could because it was so windy, and again, the wind blowing the sand was, like, you'd have to just close your eyes and brace and just,
It
hold
was
through it.
so windy that down in the canyon, the wind knocked your phone over because
Yep.
you set your phone up on the tripod down below, and
Yeah.
you climbed up, and you were gonna, with your remote, try to get photos of both of us up there, and we were up there, and we hear the wind blow, and then we just hear a crash, and
Yeah.
I was like, "I bet that was your phone."
Yep, and it totally was, and it didn't take a single picture of us. I don't know if my remote didn't reach or
Yeah.
what, because I thought that it would be, but I don't know, I've never charged that remote, so maybe that's a factor.
Um, but yeah, I just, like, wanna point out that you and I have done some really awesome things. Um, we've been to Machu Picchu together, like, that was amazing, incredible. I'd say the remote waterfall hikes in Costa Rica, the Cape Bratagata and Barossa waterfall hikes, out into the wilderness of Costa Rica, that was one of the coolest things we've ever done. But I think climbing up into Double Arch at night under the stars is one of the coolest things you and I have ever done. It's on the list for sure.
Yeah,
Top 5, I'd say. Um, it was amazing, and it's hard to put into words, and it's hard, I mean, the photos are really cool and all, but, like, being up there in the arch and looking up and you see the formation, you see the arch this way and the arch, that way, um, and then you see the bright stars through it
yeah,
at night, and it's just silence other than some wind, and it's just the beautiful night sky above you, and you're in the arch. It was like one of those moments that, and I've had a bunch of these moments over the years where I'm just like, "Man, this is incredible,"
yeah,
you know? It was one of those moments.
yeah, it's like, really live in the moment and just appreciate
Yeah, because
this,
I think a lot of people go to, like, Double Arch, and they look at it, and they say, "Oh, it's cool," and they walk away.
like what we did to the Grand Canyon.
Kind of, yeah. Or they might even go up in the arch like we were originally and maybe watch the sunset, but to actually go up at night and be up in the arch at night under the night sky with the stars and all, like, I don't think many people do that, and it was awesome.
Yeah,
It was one of my favorite moments.
me
It was
too.
my favorite moment on the trip,
Yeah.
and it was one of my favorite moments I've probably ever had. So,
Oh,
just, and I've done some really cool stuff, which we've talked about a lot of it, but that was really special to me,
yeah.
and doing it with you is really special, you know?
Oh,
Um, but you and I have done a lot of really cool stuff, but I just feel like that's up there,
yeah,
and I don't know if you felt the same way, but I felt that.
yeah, me too. Yeah, I'm so glad that we did that, and I kept thinking, like, "I can't believe I've never done this before," but maybe it was because I needed to do it with you. And
I
that
th
was also something that we both experienced for the first time together, because that
Right.
was something about the trip is, like, a lot of the stuff that we did, I've already done before,
Mhm.
and some of the stuff we did, we've already done before, and we probably wouldn't have done again unless you were with us.
Yeah. Well, I'd like to think in my hubris that, and this is just me being kind of, um, I don't know, conceited, I guess, but I'd like to think that I push people to, like, do cool shit.
Yeah,
And so there were a number of things that we did on this trip that, of all the times you guys have been there, 7 times, you had never done before.
yeah,
And I'd like to think it was because, like, Double Arch was my idea. Um, we were gonna just go back, I think, to Delicate Arch again.
yeah,
And I was like, "Double Arch looks pretty dope too, man, like, we should check out Double Arch."
yeah,
And so, yeah, just being there at night was really awesome. I mean, Double Arch in general is really cool, and definitely go check it out if you're in Moab, but if you can get there at night and there's not many people
Yeah.
and you wanna risk, I mean, again, it is kinda dangerous, but going up into the arch at night.
I recommend hiking it during the day first so you can get a better understanding. That's why I felt confident doing it at night because we had already done it during the day and I kind of already knew what to expect.
Mhm. Yeah, for sure. But after that, we came down and I was on like a high from doing that. I just felt so good and it just you feel so alive doing stuff like that. And so I was fine. Like I didn't even need to take photos or anything. I'm just like I'm content with like the stuff we did. But you and your dad were like taking nighttime photos of the arch.
Yeah.
And it was funny because we saw another astrophotography tour group come up.
Oh, yeah.
And we did have the GoPro set up on a tripod that we were like
Just
using for
trying to do star trails
Star
with it.
Trails because the GoPro does Star Trails. Um, and your dad had like a legit DSLR, like a legit camera he was using, but he wasn't really near us. He was like over here.
Yeah.
So it looked like you and I were just together and you were using your iPhone
Yeah, I had my iPhone set up on the tripod,
and you
like
were
I
like
said
taking
before.
photos and this astrophotography group come up and the guy who's leading the group, you could tell he was just kind of like, no, I mean, it's dark. Everybody has on just like red lights, but he just kind of walked up and was like, oh, like there's people here. And you could tell he was kinda, like, disappointed or, like, annoyed, because they wanted to get in front of us, and he didn't wanna, like, ruin our shots.
Yeah.
So he was kind of being nice, but he walked up and he's like, "Hey, you guys doing."
He's like, "You're doing some iPhone photography?"
Yeah, he said it in kind of a way that's like, "Oh, you're doing iPhone
Like, "Oh, we're
photography?"
using actual cameras." Like,
Yeah,
our pictures gonna like, what
we're
we're doing is gonna be higher priority than what you're capturing.
yeah, we're doing real photography. You're
Yeah.
using an
Yeah.
iPhone.
And I was like, "Well, I also got the GoPro set up doing star trails," and it was like that kinda made it worse.
Yeah. Yeah, he didn't say it, but he was kinda like, that doesn't make it any better."
And he was like, "Well, we're just gonna go, like, kind of over here, if that's okay." And we're like, "Yeah, sure."
Yeah.
But then after he walked away, we were talking, we are like, "That was kinda condescending, wasn't
Yeah,
it?" He
the
was
way he
kinda
said it.
judging,
Yeah.
but there were people in their group that were taking pictures with phones
Yeah.
and whatnot, and I heard him talking about because they weren't that far, they were maybe 10 feet away, so I heard them talking about, like, the iPhone settings, and he's like, "Yeah, the iPhone kinda limits you to, like, a 30-second
Yeah,
exposure or
he was saying it
whatever."
just loud enough that you could hear,
Yeah, but I was like, uh, I still got some pretty decent pictures, like, I know that it's an iPhone, right? Right.
Yeah.
I get that. But some of the pictures that I got were still
Dude,
pretty cool.
the thing about photography that's frustrating to somebody like me who likes photography and likes to do it is, like, sometimes phones are better.
Yeah.
I mean, unless you have, like, a legit like, your dad's cameras are really nice, but, like, nowadays, dude, phones the technology that they put into the phone cameras they're so good that it's like sometimes, like, you'll take a photo and I'm like, "Why the fuck do I even have my camera?"
Yeah.
You know what I mean?
Yeah.
I mean, some of my favorite photos from this trip were ones that you took, and those nighttime ones of, like, me in the arch and the arch at night were incredible, and my camera couldn't have done that. I mean, maybe if I knew more about photography, but, like, you
Well,
know
and there's the classic, line that I hear often, even from like professional photographers. That's like the best camera that you have is like the best camera that's in your, you know, arsenal or whatever is the one that you have on you,
Yeah,
you know,
right.
that you're using. And
Yeah,
I have a Nikon Z30 that I just got, but I'm I'm just so much better at using my iPhone, and I know that that sounds lame, but, like, there's different features and different things. I'm just more comfortable using that,
mhm,
um, and, taking the time to learn a a new skill or, the way that the Z30 works, it's just I would need to practice. So, yeah, I can spend more time practicing with that, or I can use what I know already.
mhm.
That's what I think about it. I don't know.
Yeah, I mean, if being a great photographer was just about the quality of the camera you're using, then any Joe Schmo could just go buy a really expensive high-end DSLR and be a great photographer, but that's not how it works. You could give a professional photographer an iPhone and they could take a better photo than Joe Schmo who has a $10,000 lens.
Yeah,
You
well, and
know,
that's the thing, there's so many different elements of photography too than just, like, snapping a picture.
right. It's about angles, it's about lighting, it's about,
The
just
composition, yeah.
seeing like what would be a good photo. Um, that's where I'd like to think that like I'd like to think that I have a decent eye for photography, and even if I don't have the best camera, like, you know, a lot of my photos, some of my favorite photos I've ever taken are like I'll turn black and white and I'll like actually ruin the resolution on them. I'll like make them grainy because they look so cool as like a black and white like grainy photo,
Yeah, you
you
like the
know.
desert sand looking ones?
Yeah, and those photos I post, like, don't get near as much love as, like, the really spectacular ones, you know? But they're some of my favorite photos. When I look at photos, I like seeing that kinda stuff.
Yeah,
Stuff that has real feel to it, you know? It's not just a nice picture, it's like, it's got a story. You see it and you're like, "Wow," like, that's you know,
yeah,
I don't know.
yeah.
But,
I like your desert photos.
yeah. So yeah, that was Double Arch, and again, one of the highlights of the trip and one of my
Yeah.
favorite things I've ever done.
Yeah, Double Arch was amazing, and also, we left and they have bathrooms there, and this is the first time that we've ever seen at the state park or I mean, sorry, the national park, they have so I went to go in this one bathroom, you went to go in another one, and the one I went into had 2 toilets in it. The one you were going into just had 1, and I was like, "Oh, you see the floor toilet or whatever?" And you were like, "What?" And I was like, "Mine has 2." And you were like, "What?" So then you came in that bathroom, and there's, like, a wall separating, like, an actual toilet, just like the drop toilet, I forget what they're called, but and then the other side is just like, the squatty potty.
Yeah, there's a squatty potty in there, and I theorize that the reason that they have a squatty potty at this random national park in the United States is because of the massive amount of Chinese tourists that you see there, because squatty potties are common in China.
Mm,
And in fact, I've told this story, I think, on the podcast when we did way back on like episode 2 or 3, my Thailand episode. I talked about seeing a squatty potty. Not me, actually. Lindsay had to use the restroom at the Beijing airport in China. And this is an international airport.
yeah.
Like it's a modern day international airport. Everything's modern. But she went to go into the restroom and there was a fucking there's a hole in the ground. And she's like, "What is this?" And the Chinese lady behind her's like, "Are you going to go or what?" And she's like, "You go ahead. I don't even know what I'm doing."
Oh, yeah, that's so funny.
So it was funny to see a squatty potty because, you see them in Asia and stuff, but it was funny to see one just at Arches.
Yeah, yeah,
And I don't know. I mean, there's a lot of Asian tourists that are there, so maybe.
yeah, maybe, that's a good theory.
Yeah.
So that was day 4. Day 5, Friday, we went to, Utah Raptor State Park, and we also went to, Dead Horse Point State Park. So, we hadn't we didn't plan to do either of these. We just decided not to go on the trail, and I forget which trail they did. Oh, they did Hell's Revenge backwards that day, and we
Mhm.
didn't really feel like doing it again. Um, because Burns in our group had some friends come down in their really awesome Sprinter van. I think they're from Salt Lake. Um,
Yeah, shout out Vince and Ellen.
yes. Yeah.
Yeah,
And
they have an
so
awesome Sprinter van, and so, not to her face, but I called Ellen Van Generous. They're very sweet people,
yeah.
awesome people.
Yeah, it was nice to meet them. We did feel bad because we were kind of off doing like wild stuff. Not
Yeah, we didn't
wild
get to spend
stuff.
a lot of time with them.
Yeah.
I did go out of the condo because they had their van parked out front, and I was kinda I thought they were on the trail. I wasn't, like, trying to be creepy or anything, but I was just, like, wanting to look at their Sprinter van because they have a really awesome setup.
Yeah, it's like the four-wheel drive one too.
Yeah, and so I'm just kinda looking at it, and, like, all of a sudden, this woman comes out, and I kinda felt like, "Hi," like,
Sorry, I wasn't trying to creep on you.
"Yeah, I was just checking out your cool van," and, that was Ellen, and her and I talked for a while, and she was really cool. She was really nice, and, yeah, they were really cool people.
Yeah. Yeah, but they wanted to take Vince and Ellen out on Hell's Revenge, so they decided to do it backwards, and we were kind of like, we want to try to go see something new, you know? So I had seen signs around for the Utah Raptor State Park and that it was a new state park and it's only been open for like a year. So I was like, hey, let's look into this. Can we go there? And Dad wanted to go to Dead Horse Point. So, yeah,
Utah Raptor State Park became a state park because of there's a large amount of dinosaur bones and fossils that are found there.
mm-hmm,
And what was happening is people were coming in and like taking all these dinosaur bones and fossils.
yeah,
And so they decided like we need to protect this land, so they designated it a state park. And now, I mean, I'm sure people still try to do it, but it's illegal to do that.
yeah,
So that's how that became a state park.
yeah. And they named it Utah Raptor because there's a dinosaur fossil that's only found in Utah, and it's a Utah Raptor, and it's actually like way bigger than the
Velociraptor.
Velociraptor.
Yeah, I was kind of reading about it, and so when they made Jurassic Park, which they had the cast of the raptor claw
Mm-hmm.
at the Utah Raptor State Park that you could see. But when they made that film, they made the Velociraptors larger than what they really are in real life for the movie.
Mm-hmm.
And I guess people came out and were like saying that, that's not accurate. They're too big. They're not actually that big in real life. But then they found the fossil, I think the same year, of a Utah raptor that is that big.
Yeah.
And so the Utah raptor more closely resembles what they look like in the movie because
Yeah.
they are bigger.
And they're like the largest feathered dinosaur or something like that.
That we know
That's
of,
what
yeah.
they think. Yeah. Yeah. It's a really nice facility. It's pretty remote once you get in there. It's not that far off of the main road. The visitor center is pretty cool. You got a raptor claw replica. That's pretty
So
cool.
I'll show this to the camera. This is the Utah raptor claw that I got, if you can see.
Yeah. How did we get to fly back with that? Nobody questioned us.
That's what I was saying.
Yeah.
You guys were like, no, you'll be fine. And I was like, I don't know.
It's not on the TSA prohibited list.
That's right. A raptor claw is not on the prohibited list for TSA.
It might be now.
Yeah.
That's not a thing. It is now.
Yeah, because of me.
But yeah, so we went there and actually there's the history there is interesting too because and we kept getting confused because there's this one like camp exhibit where you can get out and walk and they got different placards or whatever and it kept bouncing back and forth between history of when Teddy Roosevelt set up like the camps to have men come out there and like work and learn about photography and
Yeah, it was kind of like a college, a community college.
yeah, sort of. And then the time that they use that for an internment camp.
During World War II, yeah, they turned it into an internment camp for Japanese citizens.
Yeah. So we kept getting like I don't know, we were getting confused. It did start off with like a tale of two camps is what it's called. And so I guess we should have not been confused, but it was like jarring to see 1 minute you're looking at and reading about like these boys that were like basically at summer camp and like having a good time and the next one you're like reading about people that are like shoved in boxes and like forced to be there and it was just kind of like depressing some of it and we were like okay interesting.
Yeah.
um yeah, and it was also like forcing you to think about like the internment camps in the US and how messed up that was and I told this to you at the time like I remember learning about that but I didn't think that I'd ever go to a place where it was actually an internment camp, you know what I mean?
Yeah.
And this camp was like the internment camp for people who were being rowdy and disruptive at the other internment camps. This was like the prison for the internment camps.
Right. Yeah.
Yeah. So, and then
a lot of history.
yeah, a lot of history. And then there was the quarry that we tried to go find.
Man, we drove around Utah Raptor State Park for like hours.
It was literally 4 hours.
Because we were trying to find dinosaur tracks.
Yep.
But there was also a quarry that was supposed to have like dinosaur
Yes,
bones, right?
and that's what we were looking for, and the guy at the front said, "Okay, you drive about a mile on this dirt road, and you have to have, like, four-wheel drive, and there's signs that say, like, 'Hey, deep sand, four-wheel drive only.'" Um, and he was like, "So you drive about a mile, and then there's a white gate." And we're like, "Okay," and we're, like, looking, and we're like, "We don't see a gate anywhere." And he did say people were camping there, and I don't think I heard that, but I think dad heard that, and man, yeah, it was like a happy little accident, sort of, because we ended up on this, like, Jeep trail, which we took weren't we in yeah, we were in the rental from Denver, so not the Jeep from Moab that we rented to go on trails and stuff, we took the other Jeep,
Mhm.
and we ended up on,
Off-road trails.
off-road trails, and we were
Yeah, we
like
did do some off-roading in the regular Jeep rental.
yeah, on accident because we didn't think that we were gonna be,
Yeah.
doing that, and again, on our way to Dead Horse Point State Park, which we'll talk about in a second. But, yeah, man, we we were all over the place, and we're, like, trying to figure it out, and we're like, "They need more signage at Utah Raptor State Park. There should have been a sign pointing, 'Quarry this way.' There
Yeah.
wasn't, and so we went on a 4-hour goose chase, which ended up being fine and fun, and we, had fun with it, but it was like, if if we were yeah,
We
if
were we were out in the desert, and at one point we parked because we weren't sure where these dinosaur tracks were we were trying to find, and I remember we were following human footprints in the sand,
yeah.
trying and we were going up, like, into the rocks, and we were going up through the desert and everything, and I was just following footprints trying to find, like, "Oh, well, somebody's been out here, so maybe they went to it." Um, but what's kinda funny about that is the amount of time we spent looking for these dinosaur tracks, and then when we finally found them, it was like they were kinda underwhelming. To
Yeah.
me anyway. I mean, they're obviously millions of years old. It's cool, but, like, they weren't super, um they were just like little
Little
depressions in the
circular
ground.
depression yeah.
It wasn't like what I expected anyway, I guess.
Yeah, the dinosaur tracks at the Poison Spider trailhead
Right.
are
A little cooler.
they're cooler.
Yeah. You can
Yeah.
see, like, the actual, like, 3 toes.
Sorry to the dinosaurs that made the ones that Utah Raptor State Park, but
Yeah.
yours aren't as cool.
Yeah. But it was
Um,
fun exploring out there. It's a cool state park, and I think that because it's so new, it's not set up the best way yet, or they're, like, still learning.
mhm.
Because, like you said, the signage on where to go isn't very well done, and all the stuff with the summer camp and then the internment camp is, like, kinda confusing because you don't know, like, what you're really reading or looking at.
Yeah.
It's all kinda mixed together. Um, but again, they just opened it, so
Yeah, and, I mean, you could tell that a lot of time and a lot of work went into that, exhibit
mhm,
to put the thought into what to put on those, placards and things like that, and then, to edit them and, actually get them made and stuff. A lot of thought, a lot of work went into it. So not trying to be, like, totally bashing, but yeah, it was a little confusing kind of flipping back and forth and not, you know, context switching a lot. I was, like, trying to read the signs, and I was like, "So, wait, what are we talking about now?" And, understand that there's a lot of history and that basically anywhere you go, you could probably have that same dichotomy of information that's, like, jarring to try to understand. But yeah, that was feedback. So we said 4 stars.
yeah.
Utah Raptor State Park.
They did have a replica, I assume it's a replica, of a Utah raptor in the gift shop,
Yeah,
full-size skeleton, which is kinda cool.
yeah. But the quarry, we didn't end up walking up to it because it looked like kind of a strenuous hike, and we had just spent 4 hours looking for this white gate, and we just wanted to be able to say that we saw the white gate.
Mhm.
But it's a quarry that they're still, like, finding fossils in today.
Yeah.
So that would be something I think I would do next time we go out, is actually do the hike up to the quarry.
Yeah, if you're somebody
Now
that's
that we know
really
where
into,
it's at.
like, paleontology or into dinosaurs, it's a cool place,
Yeah,
for sure.
yeah. So we left there, and then we went to the dinosaur tracks at Poison Spider because we didn't actually get to stop, when we did the trail. Again, normally we always stop. We were just, like, gunning to try to get these trails done this time. And we wanted you to see them. It's a short little hike up, but it's kind of up a cliff, and they're on a rock slab that has, like, fallen down. So the rock slab is kind of, like, not quite 90 degrees, but it's kind of angled up. Um,
Mm,
and they're more prominent in the rock, and they're like the three-toed.
right.
So they're yeah, those are cool to see.
It's also just a cool vantage point when you're up there looking at them because you're overlooking the canyons and the desert and the mountains.
Yeah,
It's a cool little spot.
yeah. So we spent a little time there, and then we headed to Dead Horse Point State Park, and the GPS was taking us like off on like a side road. And so we're like, "Oh, okay." And again, we're in the regular Jeep rental, okay? Well, it takes us through Long Canyon, which is like it was basically an off-road trail. There were parts of it with switchbacks next to like cliffs and shit.
Mhm.
And
We went through an arch, through a
yeah,
little bridge.
yes, it's
I think there was a river crossing too, right? I mean, it
uh
wasn't like a full-size river, it was like a upstream, but we had to cross water.
yeah, there were several times where we were like, "Oh my
We're
god."
like, "We shoulda had the other Jeep."
Yeah, we were like, "We should've." There's and I saw after we did that a map of it, and there is, one place that's like, drive under the fallen rock, which we did, and that was cool. It wasn't, I guess, quite an arch, it was like a gigantic boulder that fell, and so it fell against, like, the cliff or whatever, and you drive through it, that's cool. Then there was another point on there called Pucker Point, and I'm like, "I think I remember that." There was one time where we were driving through there, and it was like, "Oh my gosh," and it's like 12 miles of this.
Yeah, we were on that road for a long
So
time.
it's like, "Oh my gosh," and we finally got off and, like, onto a main road to get to Dead Horse Point State Park, and we were like, "Jesus."
That brings up a good point, though, about the off-road trails is they don't seem like they're long because, like, I think the longest one we did, which was, like, the full day, they're, like, what, 12 miles or something?
Yeah.
But when you're off-roading, you're going very slow and you're doing these obstacles and stuff, and you're climbing up hills and mountains, and you're
Mhm.
coming down, and so 12 miles, if you're not somebody that's, like, familiar with off-roading or you go out there and you might think, like, "Oh, 12 miles, like, that's" but
Yeah, we'll do that quickly. No,
it's all day.
it is all day because 'cause you're going like 5 miles an hour, and then you have to stop
Yeah,
and go up, assess an obstacle, wait for other people that you see on the trail too, because there's a lot of, like, kind of pulling off to the side and letting people go around you and stuff like that.
right.
Yeah. But man, Dead Horse Point State Park was awesome. It's gorgeous.
Mhm.
Dead Horse Point State Park is it's so pretty. There's also a lot of history there. Um, and like, I don't know, story about why it was named that. I didn't think about it while we were there, but I took some pamphlets and stuff back and was kind of reading through them as I was cutting stuff out to put in my junk journal that Jared got for me.
Yeah, I thought it was just, like, a cool name, Dead Horse,
Yeah.
but no, it actually has a story behind it.
Yeah, so there's actually a lot of different stories, but the main one that they put in there was like, um, that uh they use it as like a corral, like cowboys around the turn of the century would use that as like a corral. So they would kind of herd these Mustangs to this point, and then they would use brush and whatever to make like a corral so that, they had brush on one side and then the cliffs on the other side because it kind of comes out. It looks like the Grand Canyon,
Mhm.
really, like a more impressive Grand Canyon. Um, and so the story is that, the cowboys would round the horses up, herd them to that point, and then that point that I was talking about is only 30 yards wide. So they'd have like a natural corral, right? And no escape. Um, so they would choose the horses that they wanted, and then they would let the other ones go free. But there was one time, for whatever reason, and we were kind of chatting about like, why would this happen? That the horses were left corralled there on that point without any water, but within view of the Colorado River, and they died there of thirst, dehydration. Um, and I don't know because I can't. At first, I read that and I was like, "Oh, those mean cowboys," but I don't know if that was an intentional thing, unless those horses were just really pesky. I don't know,
I mean,
but
I would assume it wasn't intentional. I don't know why it happened, but I'm sure that wild Mustangs like that are valuable, which
yeah,
is why they corral them in the first place, so I don't know what happened, but long story short, that's why it's called Dead Horse Point, Dead Horse
yeah.
State Park, 'cause, a bunch of horses died there.
Yeah, which is really sad,
No,
and
there's
it's, like,
just spirits of
depressing.
horses galloping around.
Yeah.
Yeah, you mentioned how it's more impressive than the Grand Canyon, and I kinda said that before too, is like, the Grand Canyon's awesome and everything, but I feel like at Dead Horse, you can kind of see more,
Yeah.
you know? The Grand Canyon's almost
You can
too
see
big.
further.
Yeah, you can
Yeah.
see further, and the views are just better,
Yeah.
you know? Um, yeah, it's an awesome place for, like, to go up and have, like, it's an awesome lookout.
Yeah, and it's, I mean, relatively accessible too. There's, like, a paved path, and you can go out to the overlook. You can also do some kind of hiking and stuff, and there's a lot of people there for sunset. There were these 2 rocks that we got some pictures on that was
Mhm.
cool, because if you angle it right, it kinda looks like you're just standing on a tower kind of in the middle of nowhere, and I got some pictures where you're, like, getting down off of it, and I've shown it to people, and they're like, "Oh my gosh, that
Yeah,
makes me uncomfortable, like, it looks scary, it looks like you're about to jump off of a cliff." You're not really, but
yeah, but in reality, we did spend a lot of time next to cliffs,
yeah, we
whether
did.
we were in the Jeep, walking, hiking,
Yeah,
whatever. And there are places at Dead Horse where there are no rails. Again, there are no, and you really are on the edge of cliffs.
yeah,
So yeah, Dead Horse is a really cool place and some of the best views that we saw while we were there,
yeah,
which
it
is really
was
saying something because everywhere you look out there, it's like incredible.
so picturesque.
We didn't talk about it, but was it the first day where we went up to that cliff and it was overlooking all of Moab? Was that the first day or was that
I think it was the 2nd day on Metal Masher.
Metal Masher?
Yeah.
Yeah, that was awesome too. You got some drone footage that day too.
Yep, yep.
So
Um, and Dead Horse Point State Park, I didn't know this about a lot of the films that have been there, but there's, like, a placard there talking about Thelma and Louise. And so there's actually been quite a few movies and things that have, been filmed there. So Mission Impossible 2, the opening scene where Tom Cruise is, like, free climbing a rock face without any harness was filmed on the park's canyon walls with the Colorado River 2,000 feet below. Thelma and Louise, um, the scene where they're driving towards the Grand Canyon, that cliff jump scene is actually shot at Fossil Point, which is, and they also kind of name it Thelma and Louise Point. I've seen it that on maps too. So it's like just below Dead Horse Point State Park. So I think where we were sitting looking out
mhm,
to the left down there was the Fossil Point.
yeah. Yeah, I think that's the most famous one. I think most people think of Thelma and Louise when they're there.
Yeah,
Um, but yeah, there's other films that have been made there. It's a really picturesque, beautiful lookout.
yeah,
So
yeah. It's awesome.
yeah. Boy.
Yeah, so we really enjoyed that park. Like I said, we went back to it for sunrise. So that was day 5, Friday. Saturday, day 6 was basically our last full day there. We did a short Jeep trail. I'm still kind of confused on what trail it was. Like part of it was on Behind the Rocks.
Yeah, try to pronounce that.
Yeah, so we hiked up to this arch from there, and it's Tukunikavats Arch. Tukunikavats Arch.
Tukunikavats.
I think I'm saying that right. Yeah, it was a cool little hike, and it's a little arch. I mean, I don't think you could fully stand up in it. Maybe.
Yeah, it's a human size arch. It's
Yeah,
but the hike up to it
was
was pretty
strenuous,
strenuous,
and it
and
was a
there's
lot of climbing.
no real trail. You're just kind of scaling rocks and boulders, and
Yeah.
you're in the desert, and then you hike through the canyon. And we were all up, kind of up there at the same time. And then Troy and the rest of the guys went down, and then you, me, and your dad went down after, and we kind of got lost a little bit
Yeah, I was like, where
because
did
there's no trail really.
yeah, and I came up a different way than everybody else. So when you guys saw me come up, you were like, "Hey," and I was like, "Did I not take the right way?"
Yeah. So going
Yeah.
down, it's like you kind of have to try to remember how you came up because again, there's no real trail. So
Yeah, we're like, "Oh, I remember that rock."
yeah, yeah,
Uh, yeah, and, like, helping my dad because of course, he had 2 cameras with him, so and they're, like, big with the giant lenses, so they're heavy too, and I'm like, "Hey, do you need help? Do you want me to take one of those?"
yeah,
It's just, like, flailing as he's trying to climb down,
yeah.
like, bouncing off the rock. I'm like, "I'll take one of those." Um, yeah. So that was fun. And then we went back to Arches National Park to Double Arch again.
We did do Double Arch again. Yeah.
Yeah, another sunset hike. And this time we actually climbed down the other side.
Yeah, how we said that you climb up you scale the wall up to the inside of the arch, but then on the other side it drops off of a cliff. Well, we fucking climbed down the other side.
Yeah, and
It
walked
was
like kind of
daylight, there was
around.
still light, so we could see. It wasn't
Yeah.
like it was in the dark, but yeah, we climbed down that
And
motherfucker.
that was really fun, I thought. I mean, it was harder to climb down that side than it was to climb back down. So it was definitely tougher. But I really enjoyed it
Mhm.
because when I was in like 4th grade, I was in like a rock climbing club. And so I would, do that a lot. And we did actually competitions. I'd go to rock climbing competitions. And I don't know, it was all like coming back to me like I don't know, like muscle memory, the
Mhm.
skill. So I was just like finding myself kind of climbing down and I was like, man, that was awesome. I had a lot of fun doing that.
Megan Honnold over here.
Yeah, I literally was like channeling my inner Alex Honnold because we were free soloing.
We were. And again, it was 30, 40 feet. If you were to slip, you'd
It
be
wouldn't be
hurt.
fun. Yeah.
Um, but then because we went down that side, we had to walk all the way around to the other side of Double Arch.
Yeah.
And
Then I started freaking out because I was like, oh no, we didn't tell my mom or my dad that we were planning to do this. I hope that they're not like freaking out looking for us.
well, that's why we went back that to Double Arch again, is because your mom hadn't been there.
That's
She wasn't
right.
with us that first time, so we told her like, you have to go to Double Arch. It's amazing, especially at
Yeah.
night. And she was waiting at the bottom, and she saw me go up because I remember I waved to her, but we didn't tell her we were gonna go down the other side.
Yeah.
So I don't. Yeah, we were like concerned that she like didn't know where we went and maybe tried to like climb up Double
Oh
Arch.
yeah, because she hurt her Achilles tendon, so she's been in a boot for a while. And so there was no way she was climbing up there. But my thought, I was worried that she was gonna be worried about us and try to go up there anyway to see if she could see us or if anyone had seen us or anything like that. So I was like, oh no, I don't want her to get hurt trying to look for us. So we start kind of like booking it back. And I'm like, okay, I think I see my dad. And like the sun's kind of going down, so it's like dusk. So visibility's kind of limited. It's harder. Your eyes are working harder. And I'm like, okay, I think that's my dad. And so we kind of try to hurry up and get caught up to him. And I'm like, hey, and I'm worried he's like been looking for us and we're gonna be mad or something like that. He was like, oh no, like, huh, mom's already back up at the Jeep. Like,
It's
she
like,
don't give
oh
a
well, we
fuck.
thought you cared.
Yeah.
But just imagine you're at the bottom and you look up and you see your family members, you see your loved ones up there, and then I don't know, you turn around, you talk to somebody, you look back and they're not there, and you know the other side's a cliff.
Yeah.
I thought she was thinking like we fell or are
Yeah.
dead or something.
Yeah.
So,
But
but no, we're just crazy.
yeah. Well, and that hike was nice too because it wasn't windy.
Yeah,
There was a little bit of wind here and there, but nothing like the gusts and the sandblasts from the night we went last time. And it was like way more peaceful, a lot quieter.
yeah,
There was still people up there, so we weren't up there alone, but it was like, man, this is nice.
yeah.
I'm watching the sunset again.
So that brings us to one of the last things we did, which we saved for, I guess, the last day we were there, right? Um, the infamous, the treacherous, the some would even say dangerous Moab Rim.
Yeah, I've totally skipped over that. I forgot. Yeah, we did Moab Rim.
So tell people a little bit about the famous Moab Rim.
Okay. So it is a trail along the Colorado River, and immediately when you start on this trail, it's incline. And you're right next to a cliff, next to a canyon. It's beautiful, but the obstacles lean you towards a cliff. And I used to ride in this trail.
Mm.
Now I don't. I'm gonna walk it. I I can't. I don't know. Something
People
about
have died there, right?
growing. I was getting there. Something about like growing older and whatnot. Like my anxiety is just I can't do that trail. I love the trail because it's so beautiful and it's really fun. But yeah, it was the last time we were there, in 2023, 2 weeks before we were running that trail, a couple in like a brand new Jeep, somehow something happened and they rolled off the cliff and died. And like the cliff goes right down to the road. Um, so yeah, I mean, it is,
That's happened to
it's
us
dangerous.
before though too, because remember when we were talking about our Peru trip going up to Machu Picchu,
Yeah.
that treacherous bus ride that you take up to the
Yeah, and we joked, we're like, haha, this is treacherous, but we are like, still felt safe, right?
yeah, we're like, well, people do this all the time. Nothing
Yeah.
ever happens. Well, what was it? A month after we got back from that trip, a bus went over the cliff and people fucking died.
Yeah.
So I mean, that happens.
Yeah. So it's just, I guess growing older, learning more about like incidents like that or whatever. I can't do that trail anymore. I love it and I'm happy to go, but I will walk it. I'll walk it and I'll get pictures. And we actually didn't even do it. Only two of our Jeeps in the group did it because it's on the prohibited list for the rentals. And it's one of those like 5% roll angle deals, but you're next to a cliff. So it just feels so much more stressful, I
Yeah.
think.
Well, and we also kind of talked about this while we were there, but it's like not even that the stuff's scary because I would go on any one of them, but like I like watching.
Yeah.
Like being on the trail's cool and it's fun, but sometimes I like getting out and just watching the Jeeps or the racers or whatever it is actually like making the doing the obstacles. I think that's
Yeah.
really fun. I think it's fun to just watch. And Moab Rim's one of those where it's like it was just it first of all, it's a really cool hike to like hike up it. And like you said, it's really picturesque and awesome. But it's fun to just watch the Jeeps kind of navigate it,
Yeah.
you know, which is what we did. And we saw that group of like legit Jeepers up there that we let go by us because they were coming up. And so we parked and kind of let them, and we watched these, what was it, like 10 or 15 fucking Jeeps
Yeah.
all,
Oh, yeah. The Yee Yee Jeeps.
yeah, they were called the Yees. And they all went up. And there was a woman, a small little, she looked like she was maybe Filipino or something, woman in a purple Jeep. Big lifted, was it purple?
No, it was blue and silver.
Okay. Blue, purple, whatever. I'm colorblind. And she was like the photographer of the group because she like pulled off to the side and let everybody else go up and she took photos and stuff. And we just had a good time sitting there watching them because they were in like big lifted, like
Yeah,
badass
well,
fucking off road Jeeps.
after I looked up their whole group, their like thing that they do is LS swaps in the Jeeps.
Yeah.
LS engine swaps.
And but then so then she got in her Jeep and she was like the last one to go up and she was like the most badass. Like
Yeah, dude, she was awesome.
she was.
Yeah.
Yeah.
I took a picture because she had an American flag off the back. So I took a picture as she was going up the last kind of obstacle at the beginning of Moab Rim, where her Jeep's kind of on an angle. There's the Colorado River and the canyon walls, and then the American flag. And I posted that for Memorial Day. I thought it was awesome. She commented.
Oh
I was
really?
like, "Thanks for the awesome shot." Yeah,
Oh, that's cool.
yeah,
Yeah. So yeah, we watched them go up and that was fun.
yeah.
And then we finished it. We only went part way up. It's a long trail, right? It's like 8 miles or something.
Yeah, and we've never done it. I think Troy and his family have done it before, and they're kind of like, eh. The rest of it's kind of like, meh. So that's when we do Moab Rim, we only do that entrance part and then turn around and come back down.
Yeah.
Yeah.
So that's Moab Rim
All right, and that is our full Moab trip.
in Colorado.
Which,
Moab in Colorado.
yeah, Moab in Colorado.
We did a lot.
We
This was a
spent one
long
day.
episode, I think.
Yeah. Did you see? I just
No,
flipped over.
I don't know
Do you
where it
want to
is.
guess how long we've been recording for?
2.5 hours.
Yep.
Really?
Yeah.
Exactly?
Yeah. I think we might need to split this into two parts.
2 hours and 30 minutes?
Yep.
Wow. I don't think we need to split it into two. We've had long ass fucking podcasts before.
All right.
If people want to listen to the whole thing, go ahead. If not, take a break and come back to it. But it was a very eventful trip. It was a big trip and we did a lot.
Yeah, we
So,
packed a lot in.
if you're still listening to this at this point, thanks for sticking with us. And
Yeah, absolutely.
our next one will be a little more condensed.
Yeah. Yeah. But like you said, thank you guys for listening. That is it for this week. If you enjoyed this episode, please let us know by interacting with it wherever you're listening, Spotify, Apple, or YouTube. Um, Always appreciate it, and we'll chat with you in the comments. If there's any place that we missed, because we did a lot, but there's a lot that we also didn't do too. So if there's something that's a must do that we didn't talk about or didn't make on our list, let us know. Because this is a biannual trip, so we'll do it next time.
Yeah.
2028. As far as social media goes, you can find us Temporary Locals on Instagram at Temporary Locals Podcast. Jared's on Instagram at Rover_Stover and at Rover Stover on YouTube. And you can find me, Megan, on Instagram, TikTok, YouTube, and Facebook at Mego Goes Global. And with that,
I'm Jared.
and I'm Megan. Thanks for exploring with us.
And remember to be a local anywhere you go.
Bye.
Bye. Look at my